So we have this week. Let's get it started. Who has the opening subject that they would like to talk about first? Let's do it. I got y'all hands up the most, so it could be either one. Let's try Chris. Chris got it up first. How you doing, Chris? He's still muted. Unfortunate. All right, Stepper. Let's see.
Hello.
There you
Hello,
is.
can you hear me?
What's up, Chris? How you doing, buddy?
Staying blessed, man.
Hey, that's all that matters.
What about yourself, dog?
Shoot, I'm here. I'm alive, and God is giving me another day.
Amen to that, brother. Amen. Now, I want to piggyback off of last week. There was a guy that said that his girlfriend doesn't cook for him because they're not married. I got news for you, brother. That particular woman's not into you. And what I want to bring up to you fellas in the actual chat, why are you committing to women who aren't following your lead? Why are you giving your commitment to women who aren't following your lead? As they say, men are the gatekeeper to relationships, right? So you're not doing a good job of gatekeeping your commitment if you're actually giving it away for free, because that's what you're really doing, is giving it actually for free when you're dealing with a woman that's not following what you're actually trying to do. So that needs to be really talked about. Like, why are you giving your actual marriage and your actual commitment to women that aren't really into you? And I gotta be honest, that was just sad. Last week was just sad because personally, I've never dealt with that. I never dealt with a woman come up to me and saying, "Oh, well, Chris, in order for me to cook for you, I gotta be your wife." I've never dealt with that. It's been pretty simple for myself. But to listen to that, it's like, yo, why are we giving our commitment to women that don't want to follow what we're trying to do? Really, fellas, we really got to take time to really think about that. We're not victims here.
Okay, he came in swinging out the gate. He said,
"I'm ready. Let's go."
He said, "Round start, forward, fierce, uppercut." He kept going. All right, let's do it. Hey, let's man. Go. All right, he want the conversation. So what is your question? One more time so we can reiterate. What is your question?
My question is to all the fellas in this chat. Why are you giving your commitment to women who aren't following your lead? AKA, when you ask those women to cook for you and they come up with some bogus excuse of, oh, you got to do this and oh, you got to do that. Why are you giving your commitment away to those type of women? Why?
Okay, let's do it. Let's bring up the first three.
Yeah.
How you doing, Steph?
What's up, people?
All right.
Hey guys.
So, hello. So now.
So wait, never mind.
So let Stepper answer the question. Stepper, he asked, why are you men settling for women that are not doing or that are not following your lead? Am I right, Chris?
Yes.
All right.
Oh. I feel like the reason why women are not following my lead because sometimes women could probably be, hard-headed. So for example, right? Say if I'm coming home late from like a shift, right? And I asked my girlfriend or my wife to cook it, and she said no. Then I'm like, she's not for me or whatnot, So.
But why are you settling for that? That's the question.
Why I'm selling for that?
Mm-hmm.
Because we first started dating, because I'm not gonna make her like, you know, do much as I like, you know, tell her to do, because we first started talking, so I'm not gonna like, you know, tell her to do this, do that, you know. So, but then, you know, as soon as I give like a couple months or a year or whatever, then yeah, it is what it is. I'm gonna tell you, just go. For me, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna like settle for it.
So you're basically saying that like you'll tolerate it for a little bit, but at that point when it keeps happening, you know when to bail out, basically.
Right. So I'll tolerate for a little bit, but you know, as soon as it keeps like happening, I'm not gonna like tolerate, you know. Yeah. So I'm not gonna like put up with her BS. My fault. I didn't mean to curse, but you know, just say it.
No, you didn't curse. You just said the title. Okay. That's a fine response.
All right.
Appreciate you, Stepper. Oh, I didn't mean to kick him mid-sentence. My fault. I'm gonna bring up Moses real quick because Moses does not have a lot of time, but I do want to hear what he has to say, and then we'll go to Goddess next. So Moses, I don't know if your microphone is working or not. Does anybody hear him talking, or is it you not talking?
No, I don't hear him yet.
Moses, you have to make sure that you give your Discord permission to use your microphone. Make sure you're not muted. Make sure you have permissions on it. Goddess, go ahead while he's fixing his stuff. Why do men choose to settle for or deal with women that don't follow their leads? Why do you think that's the case?
Yeah, so I'm trying to make sure I understand his question. So is this specifically towards cooking or in general? Because
I'm here.
Okay. All right. After she finishes, Moses, you can after she finishes.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's speaking in general. He's speaking in general of like why do men settle for women that are just not following the lead at all? Like it, I think the question comes from the fact that we're kind of in this era now where like being like following the lead of somebody or being obedient to somebody or just like, you know, showing submission to somebody is seen as like a sign of weakness. And a lot of modern dating has created this atmosphere where a lot of people feel like in order to give somebody traditional things that they should naturally be giving in a relationship, that they should have all the titles necessary before they even start demonstrating those behaviors. So he's essentially asking, why do guys put up with women who won't follow their lead? And clearly, like, they're not gonna follow them, but why do guys keep attracting or going after these women or dealing with these women is what he's asking.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can't speak from the man's perspective, but I'm just assuming that they're just accepting it. They're just accepting the minimum. My thing is, as far as in a relationship, you know, I feel like certain things should be like said beforehand. For example, like discussing those types of traditional versus modern roles, you know, as far as what you're looking for in a relationship.
Right.
I think, like you were mentioning, KiteZz, a lot of those domestic skills, you don't really see that a lot anymore. And I also feel like it depends on culture too.
Okay.
For example, like I can speak from my experience, like my husband, in his culture, Dominican culture, like the traditional roles are so prevalent, you know, so we have to find like a balance between that. I feel as if, you know, like I said, it should be a discussion beforehand. Like if you're not, I guess if you're not looking for someone who is not able to cook, then, you know, you should stand on that. You know, if you really want someone who can cook, then that's something you should be looking into versus settling for less, you know. I think it should be based on mutual respect and trust. because if you are seeking those values, then why aren't you withholding that? You know what I mean? But then it also reminds me of that old saying, like, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free too? So I don't know if that phrase is kind of like outdated in today's time, because I think maybe from a woman's standpoint, they might not want to give so much to the point where that man may not want to marry them because they already are giving them those wifely duties, so to speak. But at the same time, I feel like it just should be a compromise, you know? So let's say if we're dating but not married yet, I don't see anything wrong with cooking every once in a while, but maybe not so much, because you want to, you know, have that experience as a wife, like really committing yourself to that person. So I don't know. I think it's just a balance of compromise, standing on what you want, and not settling for less. So that's just pretty much what I think, to sum it up.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, Goddess, appreciate you.
Okay.
All right, Moses, go ahead, answer the question. Why do you feel like men are starting to put up with women that won't follow their lead?
Well, you know, that's a very good question. I agree with what Chris is saying. And by the way, before I continue, let me just say, how y'all doing? Happy holidays.
Hey, happy
to
holidays.
You and everybody.
Good, thank you.
All right. Now, to continue with this, that's a very good question. Well, it actually gets worse than that, because you got to look at the situation like this, right? Is that in the beginning, well, the reason why guys do that is because the women look good. Because why else would they be doing it? Because let's look at in the beginning, right? Situations like this occur because in the beginning, when the man first interacted with the woman, right, there was red flags. Trust and believe, 9 times out of 10, there was red flags in the beginning where the women displayed. That the red flags could come in many different ways, but what happened was, you know, the guy ignored the red flags, and then because he ignored the red flags, and just off the fact that, okay, the woman looks good, and he just happy that the girl's standing in front of him, and that's pretty much it, right? That behavior or uncooperative behavior translated to the next situation, and then the guy, because the guy is so foolish enough, he ends up getting into a relationship with that woman, ends up making that woman his girlfriend, and then that translated to that. Because remember, in the beginning, the woman's action tells you everything you need to know. It's going to tell you how the woman, right, is going to be when she's dealing with you. So trust and believe that if the woman really likes you, she's not going to be uncooperative. So, you know, that's the point. So do you agree on that? What you have to say on that?
I kind of understand what you're getting at, and I also understand. I agree with your points. I think I can pinpoint even more of a reason why these problems are occurring, but I want to hear other people's takes on it. But I feel like we have to pay attention to the things that are available, or the things that women are able to do nowadays, that created this system where you have a lot of women that take these basic things that they should be putting in relationships, and now they put them behind like almost like a paywall for men to deal with. So it's like, oh, because I'm beautiful, you now have to pay this subscription, aka pay for my love and affection. So you already get the beauty of it, but now I need you to pay this subscription so you can get the other wifely things, like me being supportive, or me cooking, or it's just there's things that happen in history that led us to this point. We just don't pay attention to it. But I feel what you're saying.
That's the whole point, because at the end of the day, like I said, like, for example, right, let me give you a very good example. Like, let's say, for instance, because I told you in the beginning, you have to pay attention to how the woman is acting, because how the woman is acting is gonna tell you how she's gonna act or be when she's with you. You see, and that can happen in many different ways. Like for instance, right? Here's a red flags. Like for instance, a woman, you told a woman, hey, let's go to get drinks, for instance, right?
Okay.
And then the woman tells you, what happened?
Oh, I said okay. I'm listening.
Yeah. So you tell the woman, for example, let's go get something to drink. Now here's where the red flags kick in. The woman said, no, I don't want to get drinks. I don't drink, but let's go get dinner instead. So now you see how the woman is not cooperating with you, right? So at that point, the guy should have cut the woman off, because because the guy is foolish, right? He's gonna be like, okay, I'll take you out to dinner, right? Because the woman said it. Because remember, you are the man. You told the woman, let's go get drinks. The woman said, no, let's go get dinner instead. And then the guy is foolish enough to actually take her to dinner. Now, once he do that, at that point, the woman lost respect for him. And then because the woman lost respect for him, that translated to the next interaction. And then if they end up getting into a relationship, that translate into the relationship. You see, versus a guy who's masculine and who's masculine, dominant, and attractive, he's not gonna. Once he see that, he's gonna be like, "Yo, listen, miss, goodbye. I'm cutting you off," because he knows how that what's gonna happen if he does switch up who he is for the woman. And most guys switch up for the woman. You understand? And that's why what Chris said, things like that happen.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Never looked at it that way.
You never looked at it that way?
I never looked at it that way, because I guess it just depends on the type of man. Because typically, like, I wouldn't necessarily say like it grounds to cut somebody off because she wants something opposite of what you want. I feel like that's where you come to like a level of understanding. Okay, well, give a little to give a little type thing. Like, okay, you want to have drinks, let's go have dinner and drinks here. Have like an equal compromise, if that makes sense. But I could see how if you back down, in a sense, women can look at men as the weaker being, I guess.
But again, right? Here's the point. Here's the whole entire point. Like, if the woman really likes a man, she's gonna follow everything he says. You see? Versus the example I give is a woman who's not really interested in you. She's just interested in you doing what she wants. And then at that point, that's gonna translate to the next interaction. The next interaction. That's what it is. You understand? Because how else would a guy be in a relationship with a woman who's uncooperative? Because there was uncooperative behavior from the beginning.
Okay, I can see the angle that like to say that the angle doesn't make sense would be a lie, right? I get what he's targeting. I feel like
right.
I can also see why people wouldn't think that was a good argument though, just based off of like it's all about, at the end of the day, say the woman that, like, for instance, you say like, oh, let's go get the drinks, and then the woman doesn't feel like you guys are at that space where she could be comfortable to go get said drinks with you, then I understand that too. But I do get what you're trying to say. It's basically when the guy is trying to establish a game plan or trying to take the lead and give some type of like show some type of leadership on like, let's go do this task, let's go get this done. And it's basically the pushback of like, oh yeah, that's cool and all, but I think we should do this. And she kind of takes the reins and leads the direction of the relationship. So I get what he's saying. I can understand it.
Right. And that's the whole point. Or second example, right? Let me give you a second example. A second example that happened to me before. Trust me, the reason I'm talking from my experience. Right. And many other guys who's masculine are telling you from experience. Like for example, like I've been out on a date, right, with a woman. The woman was uncooperative. How is she uncooperative? Let me explain to you how she was uncooperative, right? I took her to go get something to drink, right? So I told her, hey, let's sit here, right? At the in front of the counters, so it's easy for us to grab, right? But the woman says, no, I don't want to sit there. Let's go sit there instead. Right there, that's uncooperative. You see, that's a red flag right there. So I told her, no, listen, I want to sit here. And it's not, and then it wasn't close to the exit door, you know, it was in the middle. You understand? It was warm and everything. So I told her, no. Listen, I want to sit here. So if you don't want to sit here, I'm gonna have to end the date. Now, why do I do this? I do this because at that point, if the woman says no, I want to go sit over there, and where she's telling us to sit is somewhere far from the counter. You understand? So and I follow her, and I said okay, and I follow her and go sit where she wants to sit. Right there, she lost respect to me, and then that kind of behavior is going to translate to the next interaction. You see? So trust and believe. When guys are in relationships with women or have girlfriends who don't respect them, have wife who don't respect them, trust and believe is really happening. It's really happening. I'm seeing it in real life. You understand? Understand that in the beginning, there was red flags. There was uncooperative behavior. Now, what it is, I don't know. But trust and believe there was red flags and uncooperative behavior. But the guy wasn't paying attention and did not know how to read the signs of the woman. And that's why these kind of things occurred. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, fellas, I appreciate y'all having me here, man. I got to go. If y'all still on here for a little while, I'll come back in.
All right. Appreciate you, Moses.
All right. Sounds good.
Shout out to you. All right. Monet, go ahead. You might as well speak now. So I can understand what he's trying to get at. I get it. I think the examples aren't helping per se, but I like to say I don't understand what he's trying to say would be a lie. I get it.
No, I get what he's saying.
Yeah, it's essentially in the small subtle ways. Sometimes going with the flow or showing that you can. If I make a judgment call, even as small as that, like, hey, we should sit over here. Like, it's kind of like trusting me with that judgment call. Like, don't, like, it's like, for instance, when me and you go to eat, right? I always make you either sit on the inside or we always sit near the exit. You feel what I'm saying? And like, imagine that.
I didn't understand that in the beginning. So it's just like, when you explain it to me, like, that's fine, but it's not to say like I wouldn't sit there because you're telling me to. I just need to understand why you want to have me sit here. But then again, like, that's why questioning something is that's wrong. So I don't know.
Yeah, because for instance, it's like
I get the scenario, but it just comes off like,
yeah, because I get how guys would get frustrated with that, is because, like, if I'm telling you something because I know something, it's like, at the moment, just trust that I know it and let's just go do this. But if I got to sit there and explain to you why, like, we got to look both ways before we cross the street, and we're in the middle of the street and you're going, explain to me why, though, it's going to be like, all right, that's a red flag, you know? How about you just go with the flow, follow the tack, see what I'm doing, and then as you see what I'm doing, you should understand as it's doing it. But I get it. Monet, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just letting you talk.
Yeah, okay. So are you gonna answer Chris's question?
Yeah, at first I was gonna sit it out, but I kind of heard some things I had to nab at a little bit. So I'm not a man. I can't speak from a man's perspective. However, I can speak off the experiences I've seen other males have in my life, specifically the role models that I have. So I think why men will settle for these types of women, because if I remember, the question was, why are men settling for women that don't follow their leadership? I think of two things. I think it's the lack of confidence that the man will have. That's one. And two, there's no direction in their leadership. And I say that because, well, one, to talk about my first point, if you're not confident in who you are as a man and the decisions that you're making, how am I going to trust that you want to sit at a seat that's close to the exit and not in the middle of the restaurant if you don't trust your decision making as a man and you're not confident in yourself, and you don't have, to use words, you don't have that prestige aura of a man to where I can feel comfortable around you, to where I can, want to trust your judgment, to where I don't mind letting you take the lead. Then number 2, no direction. If I'm making you the man of my life and I'm letting you take charge, why is it that you don't know where we're going? You say, okay, you know what? Why don't we walk 15 steps to Miller's Ale House? Wait, no, I actually think it was actually 15 steps back this way. And I'm not saying that in a way that, oh, he's unsure of what is what. That's not what I'm saying. He's unclear in his direction. Because if you want to lead me, you have to know where we're going. You have to know what the end destination is going to be. You have to have that sense of, okay, right now we're just at a stop, but tomorrow we're going to go a couple miles more. Like, you have to have that sense of direction. You have to have that vision of where our relationship is going to go in the future, or where we're going out to eat, what you want to do. Like, you have to have that, because respectfully saying, a woman's not going to follow a man that she doesn't respect and that she also sees has no confidence in his abilities, is easily ran over, and has no sense of direction. A woman's not going to follow that, so she's going to constantly walk over him. She's going to constantly undermine his decisions, constantly undermine whatever, direction or criticism that he gives to her, because why would I respect you when you have no respect for yourself?
I think it's...
That's just what I gotta say.
Okay. No, that's a take. That's a fair take. I think it's funny
that's
because...
That's a really good take.
I'm just gonna say this. When this question was asked by Chris,
men, yes.
When it was asked by Chris, and I saw females raise their hand to this, I said, it's gonna sound crazy that I did this, but in my mind, I was like, I feel like if women interact with this question, there's gonna be a thing that happens, and it kind of just happened. And even as I'm reading the flock chat and I'm looking at all the female responses, it ended up happening, and it's very funny. But when you ask the question of men, why are you putting up with women that don't follow your instruction or follow your lead, and then you ask the females to input on it, the females won't talk about the fact that the women are clearly being rebellious or not cooperating, and in turn it gets flipped back into the conversation of it's the man that's inadequate. It's not the fact that the chick is not following his lead, it's the man's inadequacies, which is kind of what just...
Listen, because I was going to pull a page out of my boy Chris's book, because since we're addressing men, I feel as though we should address women as well. See, you ain't let me get to that. Hold on, time out. No, you don't get to pull that. I'm sorry, that pump fake don't work here. I let you finish. Hold on. I'm not gonna let you pump fake and act like you was gonna have that in the jumper, because you completely finished your statement before I even said any of this. If that was a part of your initial statement, you would have been said it. But the thing is, I haven't seen any female typing in this chat so far, and even Alex is like, "Yeah, I agree. That was a great take. It's okay. We're creatures of habit. We're creatures of habit. It's okay." Listen, I had to not listen, because I had to get it together, because I think it was misinterpreted that Chris was coming after. No, listen, it was misinterpreted that Chris was coming after the women. So I had to get in the comments and make it right. Because he wasn't addressing the women. He was just addressing the men.
Even with you saying that, right? It was misinterpreted that he was going after the women, but he specifically was targeting the men in the conversation. So even when a man is targeting to question other men, somehow it became about women. the men became
right in the comment. Listen,
Yeah,
I don't think
he was targeting the women.
And I know he
was targeting the women. Yeah,
I know he wasn't. That's why I started off what I had to say. I'm not speaking from a man's perspective because I'm not a man. I'm just speaking off the perspective of other men that I have seen.
But you can speak from the woman's perspective. So why didn't you call out the fact that you gave all these reasons why a woman would be rebellious, but we're not talking about the fact that why is rebellion even an option to begin with? Why are you dating with rebellious intent to begin with? You shouldn't be dating at all if you can have a factor that, hey, if my man don't know the directions to Chili's at 5 o'clock, I'm gonna rebel against him for the rest because I don't respect him. That's crazy. You shouldn't go into that
because I'm not a rebellious woman.
You just gave this whole speech about rebellion.
Whatever, bro. But I mean, I could touch on that a little bit. I will say, like, when it comes women, like, not I'm not discrediting men, I'm just talking about women here. There have been a lot of times where women have faced some negative experiences with the guy, whether they're doing too much, not doing enough. There's always just been some sort of negative experience. They'll take that one experience and apply it to every other relationship that they'll ever have. And that causes that sense of rebellion. It causes that sense of like, okay, this man treated me wrong, so now I gotta treat every other man wrong, even though this man's not in my life anymore. I don't understand the mind of a rebellious woman, because again, I am not one. But however, I will say that their mind and their logic does not make sense, because to me personally, the sins of one man is not the sins of all men. That's just, I mean, to a degree.
We low-key came from a rebellious woman. not to throw, like, hold your point, but like we low-key came from a rebellious woman. Eve set it off for everybody.
Look at where we at now. Look at where we at now, right? And so it go back to the point I was making. This question that Chris asked was, men, why do men settle for women that don't follow their lead? And it got flipped It got flipped into a man don't know how to lead, and if we don't respect the man, and it's just like,
See, Chris is agreeing with me. So I'm not entirely off. Off.
Just because two people like vanilla don't mean it's the best flavor in the world. Like, what are you talking about?
Stop the cap. But
just because we both agree that we want to wear white forces today don't mean black forces are less valuable. It don't matter. Like, it's like, I'm
just saying, you know, I'm just saying that's just my take. That some, like, the reason why men, you know, put up with these rebellious women, because respectfully, if something is off about a person, if anything, you should cut the root, cut them from your life completely. But for whatever reason, there's something internally that's causing you to, Alex, that's causing you to I can't even finish my point.
Sorry.
That's all good.
Causing you to lack that confidence, bro. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, let's hear from a man, Miles. Miles, unmute, gang, because maybe the disconnect is only with me. I'm noticing something from the female response to the question. But maybe that's just me. Miles, go ahead. You answer. Why do you think men are settling for women that don't follow their lead?
Well, first off, I want to say, hope you guys had a good Merry Christmas.
You too.
I hope you guys had a good Merry Christmas.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. So, man, shout out to everybody for their, I guess, their great examples and stories. These were some entertaining things to hear so far. Shout out to Moses for his long-winded speech on why he felt how he felt. We all knew he was talking about himself. When he said, "Oh, this is something about," we knew that was your life that you was talking about. Man, great question though. I want to just touch on one thing. I want to piggyback off of Steppa and Moses, because I think they're both from New York, right?
Yeah.
No, Steppa is from.
I think Steppa is for sure.
Right. I can hear Moses' accent. He sound like he's from Queens, but that's neither here nor there. If they both from New York, I could tell you the reason why this is constantly a theme in New York City. As you know, I'm from the Jersey, New York area, and all women from New York City tend to be like that, very aggressive and very, obnoxious, and they don't want to take lead. This really started in the 60s, actually, when they started doing more government aid after Martin Luther King got assassinated, and then that kind of led into women being more dominant, masculine in a way where they was like, very rebellious. And so what ended up happening was the men in NYC were essentially getting used to it because this is all they know now. When they, a lot of these people, you got to understand, a lot of these people haven't moved. So a lot of them are just comfortable dealing with these type of women because this is all they know. Their sisters act like that. Their aunties act like that. Their mother acts like that. The girls that they hang out with act like that. That's all they know. And sometimes when they move and go to another state, maybe they go to college in another state, they see a whole different atmosphere. Growing up, my father, he actually saw the same thing being from Brooklyn. And in the 80s, a lot of the guys and girls, they started dating the Jersey people just right across the bridge because the Jersey people, like my mother in that era, is much softer in Jersey. So they got that different counterbalance. That's why, like a lot of us 90s babies, my dad's from New York, my mom's from Jersey. So I'm a tweener. And that's been the situation. So a lot of these guys are just stuck in, I think I touched on this last episode, Stockholm syndrome. You just gotta move and, expand your horizon and see that there's other women out there that are softer, that's gonna take your lead. But if you're gonna constantly keep staying in that 5-block radius, you're not gonna see anything new, and you're gonna be comfortable in that negativity and that bad energy. And that's kind of what's been going on. And you'd be amazed at how people don't move. A lot of people haven't expanded. I don't know how it is in California. I heard the women can be the same way, but think about how many people in California ain't left their hood. So they don't know anything different. They ain't moved to the suburbs to see maybe there might be a different energy. Maybe, just travel and meet different people, and you find out real quick that everybody ain't like that. But I think if you don't move, you're not going to learn nothing, and you're not going to change your horizon. And that's pretty much kind of all I know about the situation, to be honest with you. And I never had that problem because I'm a whole man. My grandmother's literally in the kitchen right now, oxygen tank. And if I say, hey, make me spaghetti right now on the double, she gonna do it. So I don't know about none of that demasculation. Oh yeah, no, I'm like that. Yeah, if I want it, she gonna
granny.
get it. This is what it is. That's just how I am. If I'm hungry, hey, make me something to eat. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I don't know what you guys think about it, but you got any questions for me? I'm happy to answer. But that's all I know, though. Pretty much, you just got to move and just expand your horizon and get out your comfort zone of being negative women around and just move. Just move, and you'll find out real quick. Oh my God, it's different than what I thought. Think about all those kids who are athletes and they in the hood and all they know is scam and negative scholarship, go to college. Now they dealing with certain girls who are just the nicest of nicest, and it's a culture shock. They're like, whoa, they just sweet, and they let me lead, and it's a culture shock. So that's it, and that's just it. Just MOVE, move.
Okay. All right, Miles. Thank you for your take, brother. All right, let's get Steppa. I think Poetical was up first. Hold on. I think Poetical is here first. Poetical.
I think Poetical and Leo.
Yeah, and then we'll do Poetical, Leo, then Steppa, then Key, then back to Chris.
All right. First of all, happy holidays to everybody. It's definitely always a pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no,
always a
pleasure. Yeah, about the women from New York.
Oh, okay. No. Go ahead, Poetical.
Hold on, somebody else going for.
No. It's yours. Steppa might be delayed, but go ahead, Poetical.
Okay. So, like I was saying, happy holidays to everybody. It's definitely always a pleasure to step back into the flock talk and say my piece. So I'm gonna start off with this point. First off, why men tolerate or why they accept this type of behavior. There's a couple of reasons for it. One, you can say them being distracted or blinded by the woman's beauty. So they just, allow her to kind of walk over them and do whatever she wants without, checking certain types of behavior that she's exhibiting and getting that back on course or getting that back in line. I would say another reason is because there's some men who feel like they can't do better than the woman that's in front of them. That can be for a lack of confidence or multiple reasons why they feel like they can't do better. So whatever situation is present, they're just going to accept it and try to make that situation work. Also with that is just not having enough confidence in himself, not knowing what his direction or his purpose is. But I feel like the greater picture of all that is, if a man is not in alignment, if he is not basically, if he's not in alignment with God and in alignment with his purpose, he's gonna always leave room for a lot of chaos and a lot of foolishness to happen, and that's going to trickle down to the woman, and then she's not going to follow his lead because again she doesn't know where he's taking this stuff. He's all over the place, and so again, if he's not right with himself, if he's not in alignment with his purpose and alignment with God, then there's all type of foolishness is bound to happen, and of course the woman is not going to have a lot of respect for him, and that's how we get all this stuff going on, things all over the place.
Okay, that's a good take, Poetical. I appreciate you. All right. Leo, you up next.
Hey y'all, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. So I'm really glad that Chris brought this topic up again. And I can't speak from the man's point of view. I don't know why a man does the things that he does, but I can speak as a single Black woman. And from my stance, I know that there's been times where that I've been hesitant and maybe even denied. I'm gonna just say cooking, because that's what we were talking about. Cooking for a man. And it's because, like, for me, I come from the thought process of, okay, I know 3 things that generally a man wants from a woman is sex, food, and peace of mind. And so if those are the 3 things that a man is looking for from a woman, and I'm supposed to be a woman that values myself, where is the cutoff line for how much do I give him without overstepping my boundaries into what a wife is supposed to give him, if that makes sense? So for I know modern day, well, I won't even speak on that. I'll just say
no, go ahead, talk your talk.
Okay.
Talk your talk.
I'm just gonna say, if I'm supposed to be holding myself up to a standard and I'm out here in the dating field to become a wife, then okay, in my perspective, the things I should be holding back if the man is looking for sex, food, and peace of mind. Well, of course, I'm not gonna hold back peace of mind because that's just the energy that I'm bringing, right? But okay, if I'm gonna cook for him, there has to be a level of commitment, and then of course, if I'm gonna give him sex, there has to be a level of commitment. I'm not gonna cook just for, like, if we on the first, second, third date and you don't even know if you want to be with me, or you don't even know what type of I don't know if this makes sense, but
No, it makes
that's kind
sense.
of where
Go
I'm
ahead.
thinking.
Yeah, go ahead. You good?
That's all I got.
Okay.
No, you're making sense. Don't worry. At the end of the day, just it's an open
Don't
space.
overthink it. You good.
At the end of the day, nobody's demanding anybody be 100% correct up here on Flock Talk. At the end of the day, it's just having the general conversation. So you're good. Stepa, I'm gonna unmute you so you can say what you need to say, and then we're gonna have Key say what she got to say, and then we're gonna get the last two guys.
All right. Oh, so I was actually agreeing with what Miles was saying about like the women from New York talking aggressive and all that type of stuff, you know. And there's some women out here in New York who would literally follow a man's lead who are like convict criminals or gangbangers or whatnot because they'll literally listen to what they say instead of like a good guy who like works, come home, or go to school or whatnot, you know. Yeah, so I was just agreeing with what Miles was saying, you know. Yeah, but I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, Stepa. Key, it's your turn.
Hey, hold on. Let me turn off my bonnet dryer. I was drying my locks. I started early on. Merry Christmas.
How you doing?
Happy holidays. All that good stuff. How y'all? Yeah. So I mean, hold up. I gotta bring out my Bama Baptist. Brother Chris asked, "Why do men tolerate women that don't follow their lead?" First off, the question was directed at men. So that is an internal kind of thing, assessment that the men need to make within themselves of why do I tolerate women that don't follow my lead? Most of the men, with the exception of Brother Poetical or second, you know, most of the men that have been up so far have, for the most part, deflected to women being problematic or masculine, or what was it? Brother Moses, he can't be Moses from the Bible, but Brother Moses said uncooperative, you know. So yeah, there's that. Again, like I said, Brother Poetical, he actually addressed some pretty valid reasons for why men are tolerating that. But in my opinion, it just doesn't feel like many men consider their own boundaries, and boundaries isn't just what you won't tolerate or don't want, but also just the standard that you set for yourself and hold yourself and others accountable to. And so you know, you have to really kind of do that internal work to figure out what that looks like for yourself. Like, you know, like I just really feel like, you know, at least when, you know, when I go on a date or when I talk to you know, to people that I'm interested in, and I ask them, you know, what are your boundaries or what are your morals and stuff, and it's like they really got to stop and think, like they've never really considered that until we broach the topic on this date, you know. So that's something that they have to get clear about to understand why they're tolerating or allowing certain things to happen and occur within their own life and with their own relationships. And then I heard the issue of submission brought up. Submission. I'm so tired of hearing submission. I'm not mad at the word. I think that a lot of people misunderstand and misconstrue what submission is. So let's revisit that definition. Submission, the action or fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force or to the will or authority of another person. Some synonyms would be yielding, agreement, acceptance, consent. So when we talk about agreement, acceptance, consent, yielding, those are not passive actions. That is an agreement. I have to agree to consent to yield to my partner, to their leadership, trusting that they are not going to lead me to the RTD, which if you are not from Denver or have lived in Colorado, the RTD is the bus line. We used to joke that was called the road to danger. So you're not going to lead me down the road to danger. So I have to trust that that's not going to be the case. So, it's not a passive action, it's an agreement, it's a communion, which is what marriage and relationships that are, trying to build towards marriage are. They're communion. We're coming together to try to make this work. So yeah, that's pretty much all I really have to say. I'm sorry I didn't have much more time to draft a a bigger argument. I was trying to type as fast as I could while people was talking to capture their points as quickly as I could. But yeah, nah, that's all I was trying to say.
Okay. Shout out to Key. That was an interesting take. Shout out to Key. All right, Moses, I'm gonna bring you up here because everybody keep throwing shots your way. So I feel like it's only right that we give you room to defend yourself here.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
you catching some bullets, man.
I just got back on. What was going on? I just got back on because I had to step out and did something, but I'm back now.
Yeah, they a lot of people have interesting views on your take about the whole situation. That's what I can say. You have some disconnects. You have some disconnects there. A lot of people feel like it was projection, but I'm not going.
Well,
Go ahead. I said, go ahead.
There was a guy that says, "Am I from New York?" Yes, I'm from New York. But let me tell you, in the most part, yeah, I agree with what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? Some women, they act rough in New York. I don't know if he meant it like that, but let me tell you, in New York, I dealt with women who were cooperative in New York. I mean, look, let's be honest. Every state you go to have an uncle has a rough woman in it. So I seen rough women in Jersey as well. So it's not really any different there.
They done assassinated my boy. You hate to see
it.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, there you go.
You had cut out. Yeah. They had took you out, man.
What happened?
You had cut out, so we couldn't hear you talking.
Yeah, I'm here. I said, listen, he said there was a guy, I don't remember his name. He said that sometimes women in New York could get rough and all that, right? But, bro, I dealt with cooperative women in New York. I've seen, they have some bad women in New York too. I get it. But at the same time, they're everywhere. So it's really no difference, So, well, what else they was attacking me on? What else?
I mean, whoever disagreed with his point, you can raise your hand. It's an open conversation. If y'all didn't like what he was saying, go ahead, raise your hand.
You said there was disagreement on something. What there was disagreeing?
They're here. Your dejectors are here.
Okay, so I think the word that's kind of just like stabbing everybody in the gut for real is cooperative. It's an interesting word that's being thrown out of there, and I say that because how things were brought up and the stories that you brought up, they seem a little personal, and the word cooperative almost makes it seem as though that the women that you were with were very weak-minded, in the sense where they followed your every command almost as if you were the dog owner and they were the dog. So I just would like to what does cooperative mean to you in your eyes? Like, are you using cooperative in the sense where these women were being submissive to you? Like, are you saying cooperative as in they understood their role as a woman and understood your role as a man, and you two work cohesively? Like, what is this? How are you using cooperative in this sense?
No, cooperative could be in many different ways. Cooperative is with me, like I said, in my experience, everybody's different, but I'm basically gonna say from my experience, like, cooperative is a woman who was on the same page I was. You understand? A woman who was showing me high interest consistently. You understand? A woman who listen, a woman who is responsive to me, you know, and a woman who, you know, who followed my lead, followed my rules, you know, and made it easy, you know, and showed me respect on a consistent basis. So that's what cooperative is. You know what I'm saying?
So
and she was compliant.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then she was compliant too. So that's cooperative in my for me.
So my question now is, what were you supplying to these women to be cooperative to you? Like, were you being, you know, were you a man with direction? Because the things that you're describing to me, that doesn't sound like cooperative. And cooperative is not a bad word. It's just not the term. It's not the word I would use in a relationship with a man and a woman. I just would like to know, like, in this cooperative sense, like,
wait, hold on. I gotta chime in on that one. Why? Wait, see, the definition of cooperative is involving mutual assistance and working toward a common goal. Like, I don't. My disconnect with this whole, like, you guys' conversation on him is you guys are trying to, like, paint him like he's saying cooperative like it's some type of word that it's not. My thing is like, at the end of the day, if the objective is for the date and he's saying she's not being cooperative towards the date, then that means she's not following the game plan. She's not, you get me? I feel like you guys are painting his words in a more demonized way than he actually is putting it. Like, I get you don't agree with the point, but like, what are we saying?
No, listen. I just wanted to, you know, understand how this cooperative sense was working, because I understand what the word cooperative means. I'm not trying to paint him to be like a certain type of way, but with the stories that he presented and the examples that he presented, I just wanted to know, like, what, like, in this cooperative sense, like, how was the relationship or the date or whatever, like, how was that working? Because cooperative is just a weird word, and it's not necessarily a word I would particularly.
How is it weird though? That's the thing I'm not getting. How is cooperative a weird word?
It's not. I'm not saying it is a weird word. I'm just saying, when it comes to, like, relationships between a man and a woman, like a romantic relationship, I don't.
Cooperative. If you're talking about relationships, then cooperative definitely should be in there. It involving mutual assistance and working towards a common goal in a relationship. That isn't that what you want? That's literally what a relationship should have, is cooperation. I'm disconnecting.
Like, okay, I want to jump in.
To me personally, and I just wanted to get a better understanding. When he was saying the word cooperative with the relationship, to me, it just had a negative connotation, which is why I asked the questions that I asked. Listen, because I see your face. Listen, I just wanted to ask because I wanted to see how he was using it. Because when people use terms like cooperative, they don't use it in a sense of a relationship where there's a mutual ground. They use it as a form of, like, controlling or some sort of, you know, or some sort of negative way. I felt as though that's not how he was using it, but I just wanted to see his perspective. That's it. Painting him to be a villain. I think Moses is a bad guy. That's not what I'm trying to do here. Okay. I was asking my own personal questions.
Okay, let me ask the host a question. Do you agree with what she's saying or disagree?
I'm having a strong disconnect.
Okay.
Hello, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. No, I'm not saying you're disconnected. I'm saying the point she's making, I'm not seeing that. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that. Because even if you're not in a relationship with a woman, right? Regardless of the situation, even in any capacity, when you're dealing with a woman, you still need cooperation. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like basically, for example, why would you want to deal with a woman who's not listening to you? So like to go back to what the question that Chris was asking, why are most guys in a relationship with women who are uncooperative? That's what he basically was saying, something like that. But everything I said is the reason why, because again, it started from the beginning. the women like why would like pretty much the women don't respect their man. That's pretty much the reason why. You know what I'm saying? Because in the beginning, I'm pretty sure the guy told the women to do something simple. Hey, let's do this. Let's meet me at this place at such and such time. And the woman didn't listen. So, you know, like things like that can occur. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I gotta say.
Okay. Monet, if you gotta read towards
no. Well, no, like I don't feel as though like anything he was saying was like negative, and I wasn't trying to paint him like a bad guy or anything like that.
Yeah, I know.
It's just that like when certain words are used, yes, it can cause people to have a little like, what are you talking about, or kind of sense. But you know, when people use certain words to talk about relationships and all that jazz, I try to see what their viewpoint is. That's really it. I wasn't trying to, and if you felt as though I was trying to paint you to be like a villain or anything like that, or was trying to twist your words, I apologize, because that was not my intention.
No, I get it.
But it's just, cooperative is just not a word I hear every day when it comes to a relationship sense. I typically will hear words like there's a mutual understanding, or like we're on the same team. Not saying cooperative does not mean that. I'm just saying cooperative isn't the term I would use, because how I've heard cooperative be used, it's more so in the sense as there's a hierarchy in the relationship. Not necessarily saying like the man is higher or anything like that, but hierarchy as in like a parent and a child, or a dog and their owner. That's how I have heard in my lifetime cooperative be used. So I was just trying to open my eyesight to other viewpoints. That's it.
Okay. So I can see why when Moses gave his point, I can see why there was a disconnect there, because somebody did point it out. Moses, you said once I told her like I wanted to sit here and she said she didn't want to sit there, you immediately was like, all right, we're done. Like we got to cut it off. And that's not a form of cooperation, because cooperation is you both are working together, meaning that if there's a point where she's not seeing the point you're making, cooperation would be that you both come to a middleman and understand or find like an objective together that can meet both of you guys' needs at that moment, right? But so that's why I can see why people are not seeing what you're saying. But then when it comes down to now when it comes down to a lot of the people where they were saying like cooperation's not the word, cooperation doesn't belong in relationships, that's where it becomes a disconnect to me, because cooperation is literally a major part of the relationship. Because like for instance, she said I don't like the word cooperation, he should have said like a mutual goal. Well, cooperation is a synonym to mutual. So it's like, that's like me saying I don't like paint, but I like nail polish. It's like nail polish is just another form of paint. It's just paint that goes on your nails. But it's just like, so it's like me saying I don't like water. I love Gatorade because I like to be hydrated, but water also hydrates you. So it's like it's to the point where Jesus, this man going through a tunnel. But I get it. I just feel like I don't get how we've created a negative connotation for the word cooperative. Like that I don't get it, because cooperation should never have a negative thing. If me and Alex want to build a house and I say I got the hammer, you got the nails, well, let's collaborate together and work together. And so as I'm hammering, she's putting more nails in, then we're cooperating with each other. Like, I don't get how we turn that into a negative word. I don't get that. That's where the disconnect is coming from me. Because you like that word literally has no room for negativity, but we somehow have turned that into a negative word.
It's society. That's all I gotta say.
Which is fair. Okay. All right. Miles, go ahead.
You know, of course.
Hey yo, shout out to Moses, man. Yo, no, definitely no problems out of me, man. You was hitting them topics hard, man. You was going in. Only my complaint was you was mad long winded, and I got a short attention span. That was only my issue. I was like, oh man, he really going in on this because it sounded like a therapy session at first. I'm like, man, I got to start charging him a therapy fee in a minute. But nah, because when you had the example, I was like, that is not an example. That actually, that really happened. But no, man, great topic. This whole thing is dope. But I agree with everything that Moses said about, you can get aggressive people everywhere. I'm just gonna be honest, you can get them everywhere. But it's funny though, if you notice, a lot of people are starting to date outside, not just race, but they're actually dating outside where they're from. That's been like a big thing now. Like, Boston people are tired of Boston women. They're dating New Yorkers. New Yorkers dating Philly people. The Philly people dating Jersey people now. Jersey people dating people out in Delaware. Like, everybody's dating outside of where they're from because they probably getting tired of like the aggressiveness and the style of aggression that maybe the women or men might have. So people are kind of getting a little mixy. Now, people in Florida tired of dating the people in Florida. They dating people in Georgia now. It's like everything is getting mixy these days. We live in a big fishbowl society. I mean, I heard people out in Canada, they don't like Toronto people don't like the people in Ontario, so they're going out further. You see people in Liverpool, they don't like the people in Liverpool, so they going to date the people in Manchester. It's all over. It's the whole world. Oh, I got an echo. Can you hear me now? We good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still on the fact. I believe the biggest problem is that most people, unfortunately, I believe a lot of people don't know no better. And if that's all you know is that style of person, you just maybe try to expand a little bit. Just try to meet other people, try to meet people outside of where you're from, and you might get a different outlook. And I don't want to have to compare, how sometimes women say, yo man, all men are dogs, all men are dogs. In a sense, you can kind of say that with the women nowadays too. And to be respectful to the women, if women are like so quote unquote dogs, then you got to be respectful and understand you ain't got no business dating a Tibetan Mastiff if you live in a studio apartment. You see what I'm saying? So your comment, you might not be equipped to maybe even deal with some of those women. You see what I'm saying? You might, that's why they say, hey man, you got a little studio apartment, have a Yorkie. You don't need to be having no big Rottweiler. So it's like maybe that's the problem. Maybe I think men are dating the wrong women. Maybe they got to date what they can deal with in a sense. Maybe they keep trying to date up too much. Maybe they dating the wrong person. I mean, it's tough. I don't really have the answers because I never had this problem. I just know what I can handle. I know what I can do with my abilities, and I never had that problem. But if you had that problem, you just got to be realistic and date differently. I think there was a show a while back. I don't know if y'all watched that, the Pop the Balloon on Godwin's page, where he had the girl from Jersey. She was chewing gum like mad aggressively. I don't know if y'all remember that episode. Now you deal with somebody like that. You remember her. You already know she's gonna be argumentative. She's gonna be a problem if you were to match with her. So why would you go for that? Maybe they're going for the body. Who knows? But it's like, you got to have a certain level of resilience to even deal with something like that. You ask her to cook, she probably gonna say no. The way she chewed that gum, she ain't cooking. That gum was her dinner. You see, so I'm just being real. Like you just got to be realistic about who you're dealing with, and just go someplace else, or just cut your losses and try something else.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but the thing is this. Here's what I'm gonna say. Most guys are like, this kind of behavior with women become normal to them. That's how it is. You know what I'm saying? And that's one. Two, a lot of these guys, they're not talking to enough women to see that there are women out there who's gonna do the opposite. And trust me, there are women out there who's gonna do the opposite. You just gotta talk to lots of women. You know what I'm saying? And cut off the women who's not making it easy, who's just not for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never have issues with women. I'm gonna be real honest with you. I never have problems with women. And the reason why is because when I deal with women, I'm looking at their actions. I'm paying attention to their behaviors, because their behaviors tells me how they see me, how they view me. So if I see the woman is not behaving correctly, And if I see any red flags, I see women's not following my lead, not really listening to me too much, I just get rid of her. I just replace her. It's really that simple. You know what I'm saying? And then if you do that, then you ain't gonna never get problems with women. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is.
So Moses, let me ask you a question. So you know somebody, let's say you got somebody who living in Brooklyn right now, in Brownsville right now, and all he knows is that level energy of woman, and he don't know nothing else. What would you want him to do as far as to have a better outcome? What would be the good idea for him to do? Just keep dealing with the same women, or should he try a different approach?
What do you mean by he's dealing with the same women? Like, you talking about the women who's not listening to him and things like that, or which one? Okay, how many people you seen like leave the hood and move to the suburbs, but they still bring the hood traits to the suburbs and don't know no better? I'm talking about just like, throwing chicken wings on the floor, pouring a 40, the rest in peace to the homies. They don't do that in the suburbs for real, but they bring that habit because that's all they knew. That's all they know. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, how do you tell somebody who's in that situation in Brownsville, somebody who literally don't know any other type of women but aggressive, rude, nasty. That's all they know. They comfortable in that. But they don't even know that there's better things out there if they've never left. You see what I'm saying? Like, what do you tell that person? I would tell them, again, you got to go out there and play the numbers game. You got to pretty much, when you're talking to you have to talk to lots of women anyway. Like, me and my homies, we talk about game and women and dating all the time. And I say, what's the first thing I say? Listen, when you're going out finding women, you got to treat that like it's a hustle. You know what I'm saying? You got to treat that like you hustling. So you got to go out, talk to lots of women, and you got to train yourself to learn how to deal with women, learn how to, pretty much you got to strengthen his game. You understand? That's 1. 2, go out, talk to lots of women. And 3, cut the women off who's aggressive and who's not making it easy. It's really that simple. And then deal with women who don't bring that type of energy. All of that comes from training. You got to,
So we basically saying that we basically saying the same thing. It's just you saying paper towel, I'm saying tissue. It's really the same thing. Because if you're moving to another location, you're going to be dealing with different women. You're going to be meeting different women. You're going to be. So it's the same. It's the same. We're saying the same thing. We just saying it in different language. We're saying the same exact thing.
Well, I mean, there's no other way. You got to go out there. Talk to lots of women again, right? Because I mean, come on, let's be real. What else more can I tell you?
Hey, look, sometimes when you go fishing and you pull a fish out, sometimes you got to throw it back in the water and try again.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I dig what you putting down. We speaking the same language. I feel you.
I mean, you don't think...
I don't want to cut y'all off, but
y'all took over for a cool minute. we gotta remember this is still.
I bang on Moses a little bit. Now he cool
I don't
brother.
want to be non-cooperative or uncooperative, but I'm gonna interject. No, I'm being funny.
Let me mute real quick.
So basically, my take on the question, and I came in halfway, so excuse me if I don't have full context. But basically, I feel like it's the same thing across the board, man, woman. What a man finds visually appealing at first, and especially in this day and age, they feel like they'll go for that, right? Being is how it satisfies and validates one need, which is usually the sexual need, right? And then depending on his financial status and status period, a lot of men feel like they can supplement that behavior with throwing money at it, usually. So they deal with the hot-headed, oh, she's not going to listen to this, but, I can buy my way into this, or I can do this, or I can throw this at it, not realizing that beauty fades eventually, or it gets old, and in this day and age, very quickly. Not the women getting old, but yes, that too. But it gets old fast. So you then don't have the companion that you want because you based your wants and needs off of physical attraction only. And that's just kind of the gist around it for me. Now, how Mr. Moses put it, I think is is triggering, even to myself. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It was a very skewed kind of example. I ain't like it, right? Because if I go on a date with you, I might be shy to tell you that I don't want to sit here for this particular reason, and I might not be comfortable divulging that reason on said first or second or third even date. Now, I'm not trying to be combative, right? Because sometimes when you don't do something, it's oh, well, she's combative, or she's argumentative, or she's this, or she's that. It's just like, I'm not comfortable yet. And seeing as how he was ready to X the woman out at first, at first sign of not being cooperative, it's like, that's not really in your nature either, right? To make me feel comfortable, to engage in a conversation where we come to an understanding as well, to see what works for both of us. So that's just my take on it.
I mean, that's interesting. It's interesting because earlier Alex had made the point of when she's following the lead of the man. Alex made the point that the man has to you should explain why we're doing what we're doing, right? Alex, did you say that, or along the lines of that? Like you need the man. You need you need the man to explain why we're doing the things. Right, but then
because sometimes I don't know.
Right. So
I feel like I'm sorry.
But I'm just saying it's interesting because Alex made that perspective of when the guy is leading, he still has to explain to the woman why we're doing the things the way we're doing it. But then in your example, it's not, and I'm not using it against you. I'm just saying it's like a duality type of thing. Because in your example, you said, oh, well, I don't feel comfortable, or I don't want to explain why I don't want to sit here. You get what I'm saying? So it's like,
and that's just comfortability. It might be embarrassing.
Right. But it's like, but you see how like in my mind, right, hearing those statements from females, there's going to be some type of thing, because on one hand, it's if I want to lead my woman, I have to explain what I'm doing for my woman. But if my woman interjects and tries to take the lead, she can select whether or not she tells me why she's taking the lead, because she may not be comfortable. You get me? So it's like there's not grace being given on one. There's not being grace given on one side is what I'm pointing out.
And I feel like it doesn't apply to each and every scenario. And also at what point you're meeting the person too, which you're very right. And your opinion is very, very valid, not to invalidate anything you said. I think it's just like when you're talking about, and that's why relationships are so tricky, because it's like at what point in the relationship, once I get to a few months of dating a man, I've already entrusted myself to you to a certain degree to commit to a certain level. Those explanations, of course, if I'm as a woman who is very, I hate saying masculine, but very self-sufficient and dominant in her own singleness, like I'm very self-sufficient, right? If somebody comes into my space or I come into their space of doing things, I would explain, right? And they should also explain how things are going to move forward. I don't just blindly obey. Especially as a woman with children as well. It's kind of like you need to understand the way the man thinks, and hopefully by the way he lives his life is already an example of how he behaves and how he may lead you. So that's why I think we should all pay attention to our partners' just general behavior and movement in order to better entrust them with ourselves. So hopefully that.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
Better observations. Yeah. Better observations of the general purpose.
Let's get to some of these donations. But I also want to make sure Mecca and Put Me in the Game get their chance to speak, because they haven't spoke this entire time. Shout out to Nitro for the $5 super chat. We appreciate you. Shout out to Zeus Titan for the $20 bomb you gave us. We appreciate you. And then shout out to Zeus Titan again for the $9.99 that he dropped, where he said, when applied to relationships, the term may feel like it strips away warmth and humanity, making it seem like a bad fit for something inherently personal and emotional. And I'm sure he's saying that in the terms of the word cooperation or cooperative. So I agree, Zeus. Mecca or put me in if either one of you guys want to give your last little 2 cents on it, so we can move on to the next topic because we've been on this topic for quite a bit.
Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I actually was gonna go last this time. I'm gonna lob it to my brother, Coach. I want to hear what he got to say.
All right, Coach, it's up. What do you have to say on the topic that we just had?
Hope everybody's still up in here. I want to say, Alex, too, you be killing me with that aura when you be saying that aura.
Aura.
Yeah, but I think that people used to it because I think some people through dating, they used to women not knowing how to cook or cooking. Like, really that simple. I think they used to women not knowing how to cook or not cooking. And for me, you know, on the women's side of it, like, I don't know why the woman wouldn't want to cook for the guy, even if it been like 2 or 3 days just getting to know the dude. I mean, that could be just show what you got. That might, you know, you might keep him like that. I mean, just one plate of food and they're like, you know, you're gonna meal prep every day, you know, for the guy. Like, that's just how I'm thinking about it.
Okay. That's a fair take. All right.
Oh, snap.
Monet with
Shout
the
out to
$5
Monet.
had some extra money to spare. Thanks for letting me talk. Hey, it's Flock Talk. I don't control it. Everybody gets to talk, they talk. That's what the flock is about. So talk as much as you want. Mecca, let's end it off, man. What is your last little take on this subject so we can move on?
Okay. Well, I try not to make it into a TED Talk, so.
Do your thing, bro.
But I think the whole situation has to do with a lot. It has to do with the subcategories of 1, how a person was raised. 2, it may have to deal with the neighboring cities. And 3, it's having these difficult conversations and not necessarily becoming defensive on both the women and the men's side. I also feel like when it comes down to it, yes, some men are used to some women coming off as combative, but I'll say that it does take a level of, hey, let me remove my situation. Let me assess, is this person going to listen to me? And instead of just generalizing every woman, understand there are some good women out there that are going to be interested. Because one thing a lot of people are forgetting is that when a woman is genuinely interested in a man, she's gonna try to give a little bit more trust, knowing that, hey, he's not gonna lead me astray, especially when it comes down to it. Going forward, as far as that word cooperation, I think the term should be replaced for coercion. Because we look at coercion, it basically to persuade a person, an unwilling person, to do something using force or threats. That is what the term, I think, is being misconstrued for cooperation. And 2, I feel like cooperation is cool if maybe you can soften the blow, maybe use complimentary, because that just means people with similar morals, values, and beliefs coming together. That's all I gotta say about that.
I get what you're saying. I feel like cooperation is such a blatant, like, the definition of cooperation is very simple, and I feel like it does what it needs to do. I feel like the fact that we have to try to like sub it out like it's some type of disconnect word is it's not clicking with me, because even in the actual use of the word, there is no negative connotation attached to it to begin with. So it's just like, I don't know, but I get what you're saying. It's just not gonna make sense to me. I'm just, that in my mind, it's just, that's how I'm gonna always be, where like I take the words for the intended use of the word and I don't add personal feelings to the word, because at that point we're taking the word and we're adding traits or characteristics to a word that weren't in the original intent of the word. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like there's gonna always be people's personal feelings towards it, but then there's also, it's like at the end of the day, if we're going to use the word in its entirety of what the word means. And if that, by that, we get that through the definition. And if we're not using the definition of the word, then we're not using that word. We're using our own personal interpretation of the word. You get me?
Yeah, I understand. But that's why I wanted to address. And
yeah, like
how people were raised to has a huge play. And it's honestly one of the biggest catalysts that I haven't heard anybody talk about. But that was something I wanted to expound upon. So yeah.
Okay.
Because if I can use a little bit of an anecdotal experience, is like my dad, you know, he's not here anymore, but God rest his soul and everything. He was from Norfolk, Virginia. He was a country boy. My mom was from Augusta, Georgia. You know, country girl turned city girl. So they loved each other very much. They were married to each other for about 32 years. The amount of admiration and respect that I saw my mom towards my dad, and he did cooperate a lot of times. She may not have understood what he was saying or even doing, but she trusted the process, and he didn't lead her astray or lead any of us astray. So yeah, I just think it just is mutual interest. And if a person wants to have a difficult conversation with you and knowing that you're gonna be heard and seen, like you said, without their personal feelings being attached to it, they will. If a person doesn't, then that man should really think about, do I want to entertain this? Right. And I don't think I answered the question about why do some men settle for women that, you know, I think cooperate. I think it's just part of it is just lack of communication skills, confidence, maybe even insecurity overshrouding their character, and even as going as far as appearance. So I think those are things that I do think that many men need to work on. And if you don't, if you feel like, hey, all women are like this, maybe you should just stay single until you're on that path of healing, or even to be more open-minded.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it though.
Shout out to Mecca. We thank you for sharing that, man. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
All right, let's get to this next subject, because that was a doozy. Chris had us in the hour-long loop, man. He had us in the genjutsu. It's time to break free. Let's talk about a little bit more lighthearted subject. Alex, you bring up who you said you wanted to start the next topic.
Oh, it was Monet was supposed to be up here too. Monet, please raise your hand. Okay, so it's Monet and Big Mistake. They're bringing the topics because they're both Pop the Balloon related. So Monet will start, and then Big Mistake will end off the overall topic.
So the best way to say this, I'm going to say this kindly. Us women, we do not represent Chi-Chi. I just had to throw that out there as a disclaimer. We do not represent her. She is the example of what a rebellious woman is. Fellas, if you don't know what it is, take a look at her. But Kites, if you would gladly pull up the interview with Chi-Chi and Danny. So, basically, I would like to talk about the the simple fact that what is beauty. Now, here's one of the main claims she said was, you know, beauty is for us women, and we don't do it for men. But here's my issue with that statement, right? If beauty isn't for a man, right? Why is it that a woman puts on some makeup and a nice dress that's probably revealing and provocative? Why do we feel why do we suddenly gain that Super Saiyan 4 confidence to walk up to a man and, you know, try to, you know, flirt with him a little bit because we did our makeup, because we did our hair, because we did X, Y, Z, thus making us beautiful, right? So if you know, I have one question. What is beauty? And men and women, you were both able to answer that question. I feel as though we have the conscious minds to do so. And my second question is, if beauty isn't for men, then why are men expected to compliment it when it's at its peak, but can't talk about it when it's not?
Okay.
Those are my two questions.
She said she's speaking up for the bros. Okay. Does anybody remember exactly what time she made that comment? So we can if anybody has a timestamp.
I might have to pull up your video in order for me to do that.
Sassy because a thing a woman does for her.
Oh, I found it.
I think
okay.
we're taking it too far there.
I classify it as sassy because a thing a woman does for her own beauty is not for you. I'm gonna double down because I stand on what I say.
Do you know the amount of?
So yeah, she basically got into it about how when men speak on beauty and speak on stuff like that, she thinks it's sassy. So yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We're gonna leave big mistake up here because you're gonna end the subject off, but we're gonna, if you have something to say on it, go ahead and say it as we bring people up. Okay, so who's gonna be the first one to speak on the topic at hand? The topic is, what is beauty from a man and woman's perspective? Anybody can speak.
Okay. Sure, I'll go first. Personally, I feel like beauty basically means in my opinion that, oh shit, if you feel like you're pretty or beautiful and don't really like care what anyone says, then yeah, that's what beauty basically means in my opinion. Like, not really like caring what anyone says. Like, for example, so like if a person calls another person ugly or whatnot, and that person still feel like they're beautiful, then yeah, they should care.
Okay.
You know?
So beauty to you, beauty is confidence, basically.
Yeah, basically like self confidence, like how you feel like you very beautiful or whatnot. Then yeah, basically like confidence, you know.
Okay. Okay, I get what you're saying. All right. Next person, you guys can unmute. What is beauty to you as a man or a woman?
Yeah. And who is it intended for?
Are we just answering like the what's beauty, or are we gonna answer the other part?
Answer both. You can answer both.
All right. So, on what's beauty, it is to me. It is the qualities that appeal to like my senses. You know, like a woman in regards to a woman, you know, like her physical features, or it can also be like her mental. You know, it can be like just like anything in regards to a woman, because like that's what I'm attracted to. So anything, like I can be like, you know, her ears, her nose, her eyes, her lips, her smile, you know, the way she thinks, the way she carry herself can be beauty as well. Like in her modesty, the way she dresses, that can also, like, all that can be in regards to beauty itself. You know, her confidence, like Stepper said, her confidence. But that falls under like how she carry herself. You know, she has values, she has morals and principles that she stand on. She doesn't lower herself. You know, like, I know women dance and stuff, and like, you know, twerking in public or at brunch and stuff or in the club. It can be, that can still fall under there too, because like she doesn't dress provocative or dance like that, you know, when she's, you know, out with her friends or, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Also, what was the second part? The question to the second part again?
Who is beauty intended for? If it's not, because her statement was, Chi-Chi's statement was beauty is not for women are not beautiful for men. Women are beautiful for themselves. So if
I believe
by your definition, who is it intended for?
Okay, honestly, I don't agree with Chi Chi. I believe that beauty is intended for both genders. You know, yes, I've heard women say time and time again that they do stuff for themselves. They don't do it for men. But truly, honestly speaking, a lot of women are doing it to get the attention. You'll have 1,000 women come in under your post. Oh my God, girl, you look so good. You look so gorgeous. Thank you, babe. Thank you. And but the whole time, because like I done seen women post, I done seen women tweet and post like these thoughts and stuff. They'll be like, I'm waiting for that one guy who I like to come in under my post.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, you can say you're not doing it for a man, but you are doing it for a man. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you can do it for yourself. That's true. You are doing it for yourself. But at the same time, you're not trying to get into a relationship with Keisha. You trying to get John's attention because you like John and you want John.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my thought on it.
Okay.
Fair. Goddess, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
So, what is beauty to you? And then, if beauty's not for men, then who is it for?
Okay, so it sounded as if she was more so talking in regards to like the outer appearance of beauty, but I feel like beauty isn't just the physical aspect. I feel as if beauty can be like your emotional qualities, intellectual attributes like wisdom, kindness, empathy, personality traits. I feel like all of that encompasses beauty. And so for me personally, I feel as if it starts inward and then it exudes on the outside. So if someone may look appealing to me on the outside, I feel as if that doesn't necessarily make them automatically beautiful for me, because I would want to know like what kind of character they have, what kind of traits, what is their spiritual essence like, in order for me to consider all the beauty that they have. And so as far as who is the beauty for, is that what the next question was?
Yes.
Who is it intended for?
Who is beauty intended for?
Okay, so I feel as if it could be for yourself and also for the opposite sex or something like that, because I feel as if beauty should start from within. So if you feel content about yourself, I feel like there's nothing wrong with enhancing your beauty every now and then, but at the same time I feel as if those enhancements don't define your beauty, because once you take off all of those accessories, makeup and all that stuff, then you still have to face yourself, at the end of the day, look yourself in the mirror and see if you're content with who you are as a person. So I feel like it should be for yourself. You should feel content with what God gave you, and then I feel like there's nothing wrong with trying to like I said, enhance your beauty if you're trying to attract someone too, so I feel like it could go both ways. Okay. But I feel like I don't agree with what she said as far as it's not for a man. So if it's not for the man, then who is it for? Like, I don't understand, how is it just for yourself if you're trying to date these men? Like, wouldn't you want to be presentable look presentable for them as well. So that's where I disagree with her on a lot of things, but yeah. So that's what I thought.
Okay, shout out to Goddess. All right, let's start unmuting people. All right, go ahead, Puddin' Pop.
Oh, I thought to myself was what beauty means to me. Like, yes, you have the
Puddin', we can't hear you. I think your mic is muffled.
Oh, it's muffled?
Yeah, we can't hear you.
All right, let me come back. Hold on. Okay. 1 second.
Yep. We'll give her 1 second real quick. Also, don't forget to like the video, man. Support the content. Flock Talks is here for y'all, but the likes do help us reach more people so you guys can have more deeper, broader conversations with more people. All right.
Okay. Sorry about that. I'm
Okay,
still
you're
working
good.
with my new headset speaker. But yeah, what beauty means to me is, yes, you can have your physical attributes, yes, your cheekbones and everything all lined, and same with the eyes, symmetry, something like that. But more so, it's like what it has to do with your heart, your morals, your integrity, all good character, things of that. That's what I feel like beauty means to me. Without that, it's more so it's like it's vain. You see beyond just that, but that's what I focus more on. I would disagree with Chi entirely that it is not just for women only. Men can too have beauty as well. I mean, why not have like men who go actually to spa, get their nails done, get themselves, all pampered up, or you see on social media where wives or girlfriends do their boyfriends or husbands makeups and do a get ready with me, or just something like let me show you how men can be like treated as well with their beauty as well. Another thing too, I would say, if it's solely just for women, then why is it that we have cosplayers, both men, women, transgender, and all of that, people who dress up, express themselves in the type of way, get their nails painted, and be one with everyone, where people are just enjoying their look wise, who they are as characters, who they are as beings. You see more to that as like, hey, they're having fun, having a good time, and expressing themselves as just as everybody else. I don't think it's supposed to be gender specific at all, nor should there be any prejudice or segregation wise to this is a women's only section only, this is a men's section. I don't see it as that. So that's what I believe beauty is to me. There is no segregation. There is like community. There is oneness. There is wholeness.
Okay. That's a great take.
I like that.
Shout out to Puddin' Pop.
Yeah.
Why you say her name like that?
Hey man. All right, let's get Will Too Humble because we haven't heard him today. Will, you're up next. What is beauty to you, and who is beauty for?
What is beauty to me, and what is beauty for who? That's a good question. To me, I think beauty is something that it is natural, something that you cannot sit up here and change, something that is perfect on its own. Something that you know for a fact that nobody can influence me to sit up here and change. That's what I think what beauty is like. I also think of beauty is like, okay, I don't have to get, BBLs. I don't have to do that. I already have it natural. Another thing too, when I sit up here and hear beauty, I also think of someone who absolutely knows their role, their, like femininity, something that is not like genetically modified. You know what I mean? Like when I do think of that, that's what pops into my head. Something that is natural, and you just cannot sit up there and just contaminate it. That's what I think of beauty in general. If I had to add a little bit more to it, I also think that, it's definitely someone who doesn't have to listen to somebody else and thinks for themselves as well, regardless of their environment, their sanctuary. Like they don't have to listen to nobody, sit there and tell them, oh, well, you can look better than that. No, I can think for myself. Thank you very much. I don't think that happens much for what I'm seeing and for what Chi-Chi is over here talking about. In my opinion.
Okay.
The second part, and what was it again? I don't want to sit here and
who is beauty for if it's not, because she made the statement that beauty is not for men, it's for women, it's for women and themselves. But who is beauty for, in your opinion?
I think in my opinion, it's most definitely for the guy. It's definitely for the guy for sure. Just because, it's nature. It's natural. That's not something you can just sit there and be like, oh, well, it's for, myself. No. When you absolutely know when nature sits up here and tells you, you know what? I'm gonna try to get myself looking good, dress good, put on makeup. Like, each and every pop the balloon, someone has always looked absolutely, either they look pretty much perfect or look decent, with the makeup on. And you can't just sit up here and say that, oh yeah, I do it for myself. No. You're saying that because there's cameras in front of you. You're saying that because there's phones in front of you. That's the only reason why you say it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be saying that. There's certain things that you say while the cameras and stuff are up, but once the cameras are off, once production is off, once the whole YouTube video is done, then you're going to go back to doing whatever you were doing before. But it is never just for one person. Or for themselves, I should say. It's definitely for the opposite. And we can't sit up here and act like it's not for the opposite. That's like me sitting up here saying, I'm getting my hair cut, I'm taking a shower, I'm putting cologne on just for myself. No, I'm doing it because of someone who is the opposite of me. That doesn't make sense. Why would I just do it for myself? Can I? Absolutely. But guess what? I don't. Why? Because in my nature, my thought process, the way I'm thinking of the world, the way I just put myself out there, what makes you think I'm just doing it for myself? Like that don't even make sense. I'm doing it for the opposite sex. That's the whole point. Especially if I'm over here putting in the work and sitting up here putting myself out there. Especially if we're trying to go on a dating show. You telling me you doing it for yourself? That is nothing but cap. In my opinion.
Okay, that's fair. That's your opinion. And nobody can tell you otherwise. So I feel it. I feel like I can see what you're aiming at with that. So I get it. Thank you, Will.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no problem.
All right, Miles, you're up next, gang. And then we're gonna start bringing up the next group of people. 1, 2, 3. Go ahead, Miles. What is beauty to you? And then who is beauty for?
All right. Well, first, let me just say thank you for having me again on this lovely chat. I hope you guys can hear me. Hope my voice is doing good, working it out. Let me just address Will right quick. What he said about the comment about men, he not really getting his hair done for, for other reasons, stuff like that. I think that's a little bit of a farce. Men do get the haircut for other dudes as well, because guys get the clowning. So you want to make sure your hair is done around your homeboys too. Let's just, respectfully, you get your hair done for the guys too, because you don't want to get clowned. But Chi is a weed head. She's crazy. She needs to stop smoking. So that a lot of that has to play a factor too. Okay, so now let's get back to the actual topic at hand. What is beauty to me? Well, this is going to be fun because I was the first African American male to attend Paul Mitchell in the state of Maryland and graduate. I was going for cosmetology until I lost my sight. So we can really talk beauty in a real way. And KiteZz, your mom was a hairstylist, so you understand this too. Beauty is very simple. Obviously, I'm gonna piggyback off what Puddin was talking about with the line of symmetry. Beauty is essentially your eyes, nose, and mouth have to be at an even dimension of all parts, from your eyes to your nose, from your nose to your lips. Both your eyes have to be evenly, cement. Everything got to be even up. Yeah, symmetrical. Sorry about that. Yeah.
No, you're fine.
And if they're not symmetrical, basically that's when you get the makeup and you essentially create the illusion that you have an even face, essentially. And some people have an even face. They don't have to put as much makeup on. Some people don't, and they got to add more makeup on. If they got the 4 fingers on the forehead, maybe got a big forehead. You bring a bang in the front, or a fringe. These are ways to make yourself look beautiful if you're not beautiful. Now, there are people out there who have a perfect face, perfect hair, perfect weight, perfect shape, and they ain't got to do nothing. They just wash their face with soap and water and go. They put a little Noxzema on and go. A little lip gloss and that's it. But but some people, they don't have that, so they got to make themselves look beautiful. They got to get maybe custom wigs as opposed to the ones you buy in the store that don't necessarily fit, as in what Danny was referring to. And it's like, that there are things that you can do to make yourself look beautiful. Some people got to work a little harder than others, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. Everybody has a kind of a defect on their body. It's just a matter of covering up, working around it, or working with it, but it's all on you. And of course, a little level of confidence and stuff with your beauty and stuff, and your personality goes hand in hand as well. As far as who's it for, it's for men. There's no question about it. The beauty is for men, and this is come from someone who has been in a beauty school with 150 girls, and I was the only guy. Okay, I think it was like 2 gay guys, and I was the only straight one there. They ain't get dressed for me. They was in there looking bummy. They was looking trifling. When they don't have makeup on and their hair is jacked up, man, they look sick. I thought they was sick. I was like, yo, one girl was so toe up, I promise you, she was so busted. I asked her, I said, oh my God, who did this to you? And she was like, no, I just ain't got no makeup on, Miles. And I was like, oh, okay, wow, you different. And I swear, let a guy call him and say, hey, I'm gonna take you out to lunch while we in school. Oh, all of a sudden, they scurrying around to get their hair done real quick. They get their makeup done. They ain't got time to wash their hair, so they go get the dry shampoo real quick. They really out there really getting done up. And I'm like, oh, okay, y'all really doing it for men. You didn't do it for me, because you wasn't finding me attractive because, we like classmates. But for the guy that's coming that don't know how they really look, oh, they getting done up, dressed up. All of a sudden, they pulling out the heels out their locker. I seen it all. Put the perfume on, you name it, they was doing it. So 100% women are doing it for the men. If there's women doing it for other women, it's the only reason they doing it. It's just to show that they're the best looking one. It ain't nothing but competition to show that they're the best looking one amongst the other girls. They ain't doing it for each other. They doing it to show up and show out, and they doing it for the men because they trying to get chose.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay. Solid take. Appreciate you, Miles. All right. Whoever wants to speak next, go ahead and unmute. We do have Joshua. It's his first time up here too. So, hey, go ahead, Poetical.
I think I'll jump in here real quick. So we're talking about what is beauty, right? Beauty, from my perspective, beauty, it's a mixture of confidence, also with a synchronicity and a symmetry as far as people's face and just overall look. But I do believe that confidence has a lot to do with beauty. Since we're talking about Chi-Chi, the girl from Pop the Balloon, she to me is the type of woman like it's because I say so. Like she spent this whole conversation with Danny talking one way, only to switch it up at the end. It was kind of ridiculous. But as you can see from the way she acts and stuff, she just wants to do what she wants to do. It has a very rebellious spirit, a very rebellious mindset. Just leave me alone. I'm a woman. Let us women do what we're gonna do. So on and so forth. So that's those type of women you probably should stay away from. But getting back to this whole beauty thing, um, like I said, it has a lot to do with the confidence. That's why there's certain women or certain people that you see when they walk into the room with a certain confidence in the presence, people take notice. Like you can just feel the energy just kind of shift. You can you feel something different when they enter the room because to me like that is a part of beauty. It's like when you look at a painting or something, there's certain patterns, there's certain things that are in sync, certain things that are symmetrical, and it captures your attention. Like all of that is a part of beauty. And who is beauty for? Beauty is, I don't believe it is for us as men. That's why we get mesmerized by when we see a woman, on her A game, or she steps in wearing a certain color, wearing a certain dress, wearing a certain outfit. Like these are the things that we admire, that we pretty much get hypnotized by, or get in the daze because we're very much visual. That's always how men are, and like let's be honest, when we approach a random woman on the street and say, "Oh, you're beautiful," we're not saying that because of her mind, because we haven't even really had a full conversation. It's what we see as we're going past, or we're just passing each other out in the open. Like, oh, okay, that attracted my attention. She looks a certain type of way, her hair, or whatever it is, her smile, just the way that she's carrying herself. So that's all of that. Again, it's a part of beauty, and it's definitely for like for men. And some men will pay top dollar for it. That's why you have certain men who go to gentlemen clubs and things like this, because they're paying for the beauty to be displayed in their like all of these things. I'm just giving an example, but you get where I'm going with that. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Okay. Shout out to Poetical.
Hey, I'll chime in. So the question was,
what is beauty?
You said, what is beauty and
who is it for?
And who is it for? Okay. So I'm gonna say that beauty is a standard. I think they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So I think beauty is for everyone, for man and woman. I think personally for me, I don't usually judge people's beauty on how they look. I'm more of like I'm looking at your mindset, your thought process, like what your beliefs are, what are your values, your morals, like how you move. And if they are in alignment with me, not to discredit and say like if they're not in alignment of me, you might not be beautiful to me, but you might be beautiful to somebody else. As for what Chi was saying, I'm gonna just like, if we go to the end of this whole video, this BM talks to him. She said at the end that she came in defensive. She came in prepared to attack Danny. I feel bad for Danny because he didn't deserve that. And we had to sit there and watch her eat him alive and watch him humble himself in front of her. And I want to even use that as an example because she was personally attacking him through that whole thing. And through that whole thing, watched him humble himself in the face of being attacked like that. Towards the end, when BM is trying to close it up and stuff, even she is like, okay, well, he ain't really did not. Well, she didn't say this, but you know, in her behaviors, you could see, okay, he ain't really did nothing to attack me, and he been humble this whole time after the way I done behaved. You know, if it came to it, she would have gave him a chance. She was trying to be soft with him at the end. But so I mean, I think that when it come down to beauty, I mean, I use that as an example too. It comes down to your behaviors, how your thought patterns, how you view the world, and how you treat people.
Solid take. Okay, who's
me? Me?
Go ahead.
Yeah. To me, beauty starts with myself. It starts with me loving myself first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I love myself as a byproduct, I'm going to deal with women who are beautiful to me. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's where it really starts with for me, because I'm looking for women who are a reflection of me. You know, I'm looking for the women that have the character like I have, right? I'm looking for the women that have those qualities that I like in myself. I want that in a woman. So basically, that starts with me. And far as what women goes, it just depends with women, because when a woman finds a man attractive, guess what she's going to do? She's going to start wearing makeup. She's going to start doing stuff for that man that she actually likes. So she is doing it for the man, but she's doing it for a certain type of guy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair point.
You know, but far as Chi-Chi's behavior, it all comes back to Chi-Chi's used to dealing with guys who are weak. So that's why she could say all that stuff, because she's not used to dealing with guys who are strong. She's used to dealing with guys who are weak, guys who are like throwing cash apps at her and all that. So when women are used to that behavior towards men, she's just gonna crash out, because she doesn't know any better, because she's not used to guys saying, what's the word, no to her. That's it, really.
Okay, fair point. All right, L Dragon, go ahead, or whoever unmutes first. L Dragon got it.
You want to go?
It's either you or Yeshua.
Okay.
Y'all both have been waiting fairly, so.
Yeshua, you want to go? Or
you can go first.
Okay, thank you. Well, first, hey Kites, hey Alex, how y'all doing?
How you doing,
Hey,
Dragon?
how are you? Good.
I'm
Happy
good.
birthday, by the way.
Oh yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this vlog talk is a good way to end it, by the way. So thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.
So the question was, what is beauty to me?
Yes.
All right. So to me, beauty is something that a person has, or a thing that is like attracts someone or makes them interesting. The way I see it, beauty can be external and internal. The external beauty is the things you do to yourself, as far as makeup, plastic surgery, or anything. Your internal beauty or inner beauty is the qualities that you have that might make someone want you, whether it's your morals, your principles, or the type of person you are. As far as the question pertaining to whether it's for the man or for themselves, I'll say this. I think two things can be true. It could be for them, but it could also be for men. The thing is, I wouldn't say specifically men. I'll say it could be for whoever that person is trying to get into a relationship with, whether it's a man, woman, or whatever. Because I think, and I said this in the chat, that your external beauty will catch their attention, but your internal beauty will make that person want to marry you.
Mm.
So I feel like when you have your internal and external beauty in line, then yes, it could be for them, but also it could also build your confidence up and make you feel better about yourself. So I think it could be for them, but it could also be for themselves.
Okay. L Dragon always cooking, man. Yeah, sure. How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, everyone? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so I'm glad to be here. It's my first time here. The conversation has been great so far. So, you said the question is, what is beauty to me and who is it for?
Yes,
Alright,
sir.
so beauty to me, it's basically anything that is pleasant, appealing, or just attractive to your senses. So, this can be anything from looks, what you hear, what you smell. For example, I believe it can be subjective. Like if you look at someone, you have a dark skinned lady, she probably have shape. To one guy, in his perspective, she would be beautiful to him because she's his type. He likes what he's seeing on her. However, somebody else, she might be ugly to him because based on their perspective, that's not what they like, you know. And but I also believe that it can be general with, for example, someone that can sing well. Everyone would agree that they have a beautiful voice. Maybe they might not like how the voice sounds, but you can't deny that that's a beautiful voice. So beauty is basically anything that's just appealing to your senses in your perspective. Now, who is it for? Actually, I believe for women, I believe it's for both men and women and themselves. But I think that men is the center of it, because when you look at the Bible, a man shall leave his parents and cleave to his wife, and a man should also provide for his wife.
Right.
I believe that everyone subconsciously knows that as a fact. So as a result, women, when they dress up, do their hair, do their makeup, do all of that, they know that they're more liable to get a good man, a man that will protect them, a man that will provide for them. Therefore, they do it for the men because they just have more options. But when it comes to the women, because the women know that that is the standard subconsciously, when a woman looks at another woman that's beautiful, she knows that that woman can get a good man. So therefore, they get more respect from those women, or they look better in those women's eyes. And then for themselves, yes, when they do it, it releases that feel-good hormone. And, when they look in the mirror, they look beautiful to themselves. But I think the reception that they get from society supersedes that, because even if you look in the mirror and you look beautiful to yourself, if everyone on the outside views you as ugly, that will diminish your self-esteem, even if you yourself thinks that you're beautiful. So, because of the response you will get from society, from women, from men, then I believe that helps your self-esteem. So that's my take.
Hey, hey, man, his voice is so soothing, bro.
It is. It is. It's the accent.
Yeah, he had me all relaxed. I'm like, yo. Hey, shout out to you, dog. Hey, man, his voice was soothing in the accent. It made me feel like I was listening to like a like those. Remember when your teachers used to play like the little the stories on the little cassette tape? Bro, he had me completely relaxed just now, bro. Hey, shout out to you, Yeshua, man. I hope you speak more often on this panel, man. Hey, please come back. He had me actually just chill, bro. I'm like, dang, like, all right, hold on. Let me snap. Nah, okay, Remy, I'm gonna unmute you, fiend.
Oh, snap.
Stop doing her like that, bro.
What did I
'cause
do?
You was interrupting our Jamaican story time because you want to sit there and be like, yo, in the middle. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Talk about the topic.
Yo. So I think everybody so far has literally hit the nail on the head when it comes to the entire what is beauty. Now, on the other side of things, who is beauty for? Of course, in a sense, to enhance what you already feel to be the beauty that you hold externally. Now, as a single person, you might do a little sign extra because you're trying to bag you somebody to call your husband or wife, right? You always want to look presentable, but I also feel like it becomes a part of you as a person. You have
Dang, she didn't got cooked.
Dang, she didn't got cooked and muted herself.
You see that?
You see,
she probably got a phone call.
You didn't interrupt the Jamaican story time.
Hello? Okay. So I gotta put this thing on do not disturb sometimes. No, but what I was saying is beauty standards are what's within you. Everybody don't go. Me, for instance, I just came from getting my hair braided and sat 6 hours for it. Some people aren't doing that. Now, do I necessarily need to do that specific thing to attract a specific man? Maybe if I know the guy I like is into braids, then yes, right? I'll sit for it because I know that's what he like and I like what he likes. But at the same time, it is a part of you and yourself, and that's something that I upkeep for myself. So I feel like that's just the gist of it.
Okay.
Because I would like a man that I like to put himself together. I like a well-groomed man. Not so to the point where it's like outlandish and, you know what I mean? Beyond where I can question his sexuality, you know what I'm saying? I don't want you to wear tighter pants than me. But like, I do like a man that upkeeps himself, and I guess people call that metrosexual, and I feel like metrosexual to a lot of people, they can translate to sassy in nature, and it's not. Men get their nails done, men get their feet done, a lot of athletes do it. So it just depends, what your standard of beauty is to you.
Okay.
French fried chew.
Okay. Young Smiley, we ain't heard from you in a minute, brother. Go ahead.
What's up? Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy birthday, El Dragon, for sure. Hope everybody mental good this holiday, but yeah, man. I personally feel like it's subjective. It just depends on like who you really trying to please, like maybe if she not into Danny, then yeah, it won't be necessary for her to look good because it ain't a person that she technically want to oppress. But then at the end of the day, it's like you downgrading this man and stuff like that, but you don't even find him attractive. So I don't know. It's like it's subjective though in my eyes. Cause like beauty, like what is beauty? Like we need to really ask that question. Is we going off the beauty of society? What society say? Or like, cause like everybody got their own form of what it means. It's either here nor there. So I don't necessarily think that it was right for her to even kind of bring up, cause I don't know, did she bring up the comment or was it like I don't know, cause I don't know.
Are you talking about Chi-Chi?
Yeah, did she like bring up the beauty thing?
Yes.
Like what?
She brought it up because Danny had certain specifications and qualifications where he does not want to date a woman that wears a bad wig, and she feels as though beauty should be left up to the women and it's not intended for men to begin with, so men don't have a right or room to comment on what women should be wearing, what they choose to look like, how they choose to wear their makeup, And then that's when the question came about what is beauty and who is it intended for?
Right. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, y'all guys nailed it on the head. I didn't even really have to say too much. It's just injective. Whoever, like, cause you might think so. Like, for instance, I might think Tiana Taylor is like the most beautifulest woman in the world. Then somebody else might think she like not as attractive. And I know like a lot of people say like Rihanna is attractive, but I don't really find her attractive. So it just depends on who looking at it. It's like looking at a picture. You ever seen somebody look at like a picture at an exhibit for a long time and they be like, "What is that?" I think that's a horse. No, that's a cloud. You get what I'm saying? So it's subjective. It depends on who looking at it, cause everybody got a different eye at things. That's all I got to say. Yeah,
Okay.
but I
No,
don't
that's
think
a
that
fair
was
point.
right though. Yeah. Yeah, it's just subjective. And happy birthday, Eldrock, and Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year to everybody, man. I love y'all.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Young Smiley. All right.
Most definitely.
Yes, sir. Big mistake. The big beef. The cow that has been in this call. It's time.
Hey y'all.
That is
This
crazy
is my first
work.
time joining, but
That is not the voice I expected.
my
from you. Big
name.
mistake.
Thought you was gonna be
That's funny. That is literally funny.
Why
That
would
is
you
not
do
the
that?
voice I expected from a profile picture of a cow with the word big mistake. That is funny. All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
My fault, y'all. Hey y'all, Alex and KiteZz, y'all are hilarious. Like I appreciate your channel so much. Like I'll be watching y'all on my breaks at work. Yeah, I wish y'all much success and blessings and everything you do with the channel and anything else.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. So my topic, it's kind of unrelated. Is that okay? It's about
Yeah,
Pop
that's
the
fine.
Balloon.
Oh, you're starting.
So
the
I
next
wanted to
topic,
just.
so, yeah, it's you.
Okay, cool. So I wanted to discuss the most recent episode, and why people in their 40s and 50s are so unserious, and why they pop over trivial things. Like, because like a lot of people, they blame social media for people's standards being unrealistic nowadays, but like, it seems like this issue crosses generations. Like, there are older participants who pop their balloons over like distance, or because they don't like how somebody's toes look, or because like someone's a year older. Like, respectfully, that dude, Dr. Dookie Braids, I forgot his name. He annoyed me. Like, he was tweaking. He popped on someone because they were a year older than him, and then he tried to say it's like an African thing, like it's a requirement for the women to be younger. But like, I have a lot of African friends, and I'm from Africa, so I feel like he just made that up. So yeah, I don't know. My question is like, what contributes to people's delusions and like unrealistic standards in dating, even into older age, and like how can we like break that cycle and be more realistic?
Okay. So, if you guys want to answer that question, start raising them hands. Hands up, hands up, put them hands up. Hands up. Especially you older people, you OGs of the flock, you birds with more seasoning. Raise your freaking hands. You gotta answer these questions about you guys' representation. All you 30 plus, this is your fault. We're blaming you for this episode, so it's time for you guys to own up to your misbehaviors. Yeah, hands up. Where's Nitro at? You lucky you at work, Nitro. You not safe.
I was actually about to start off with a topic too, but never mind. But
well, since you spoke first, now you got to answer her question. So,
what was her question again? I feel like I wasn't listening. Sorry.
Ooh.
You want me to go first?
The big mistake.
What contributes to people's unrealistic standards when it comes to dating, especially when you're 30 plus?
Go first, Miles. And down.
Okay. Her name was with the cow. Was it? I don't know why I want to say Big Meech. What was her name again?
Big mistake.
Big mistake. Okay, yeah. Well, you know what? Can I? Well, that was a great question by her. First of all, so shout out to her. She got a nice voice too. I want to first start off by saying that this episode, to me personally, was one of the best episodes I have seen. I think we got to give this group a real big round of applause because I think, in hindsight, they actually did very well considering all the other shows we've seen. If you think about it, a lot of matches, whether it was good or bad, a lot of matches. And so I want to definitely give them some props because a lot of things was happening. I don't know if y'all paid attention to the good things, but if you notice, not one person said anything about a zodiac sign. That's first thing I noticed. And people were actually matching, traveling from distance to distance. Technically, everybody found a match except for maybe three people. Some people made a big mistake. Maybe they called an audible, popped too prematurely, but some people had a couple little ignorant moments on the show. A couple people had some therapy that needs to be addressed maybe in another topic. But overall, that was really good. I actually, I kind of want to disagree with her, but only because I thought this show was actually very great. It wasn't as bad as the other shows. And I'm actually hoping that this actually goes on to another episode where we I think the 30-year-olds and the 40-year, I think they was representing pretty well, actually, better than most other shows, except for a couple mishaps. But I mean, none of the girls said anything about height for real. And I think maybe because a lot of them were kind of all in the same height anyway, but I thought it was a great show. I mean, did you guys feel like they was tripping based off of the other shows we've seen? I actually thought this was one of the better shows. It was longer. People were actually matching. I mean, even the guy, I didn't think the guy with the cherry red was going to match. Then I found out he's from Newark, New Jersey, just like Mike and myself. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's kind of romantic-ish. So I'm like, I don't know. It just, the whole thing was good. But to answer the question, if I got to answer it, which I guess that's what y'all want, I think just sometimes, as far as people picking women and men off superficial reasons and they're just popping based off superficial reasons. I'm gonna give you an example and a kind of an analogy. Fellas, y'all know when we ever go to like Best Buy to get a TV and we got a line of TVs all lined up. Now, deep down in your heart of hearts, you came there to get a 55-inch TV, but something about them TVs lined up, the 55-inch TV don't look so hot no more. And all of a sudden, you sitting over there with the 100-inch TV and you like, oh, I want that one. I'm getting the big one. And then you're like, you know what? But you came for the 55-inch, but because the 55-inch is sitting there next to all these other TVs, all of a sudden now your mind ain't, you're not processing things correctly. So then you mess around and get the biggest TV you could find. Totally forget that you got a studio apartment. The TV don't even really fit on the wall because your place is too small. You don't even. I know somebody literally right now who literally wanted a 55-inch TV and he went and bought a 85-inch TV. Didn't even have a stand to put it on. He got it on the floor right now. And he's watching it on the ground in the living room because he didn't even think to process his mind to get a TV stand, to get certain things to maybe hook it up on the wall. He didn't even think to do that stuff because he went in there with an idea and it came out not even thinking. And I think sometimes that's a human problem. I mean, I've seen girls do it too. I've seen guys, you go into the store, go to the grocery store and say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to get a loaf of bread. I ain't getting nothing else, loaf of bread. You come out with loaf of bread, milk, Doritos, a soda. You come out with so much stuff. You like, and you sitting in the near the register, you getting a couple Reese cups, couple Snickers because they sitting right there. But you said you was coming for a loaf of bread. And now you left with a whole bunch of stuff. So I think sometimes our eyes play tricks on us. We don't have an agenda when we get there, not a good game plan. I think that's probably the reason too. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, and I look forward to seeing what you guys think why the reason is, why people are having wrong choices and picking wrong decisions when they're doing these lineups on Pop the Balloon. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys think. And that's my take.
Okay. All right.
I hope it was a good one.
Ban Remy.
Ban Remy is crazy work.
Banner.
That's not the.
She's never made me mad until this moment.
Nah, Maz.
Wait, she said
I
something about
appreciate
me?
you. No. She chatting.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say, I know I do stand up. I get the roasting now. Okay.
All right. Appreciate you, Maz.
All right. The question was, why do 30+ people have unrealistic standards?
Yup. In dating.
Honestly, it can be a plethora of things, but most likely, the main reason I can come up with is that they just don't like that person. Like, people come up with all the reasons in the world when they don't like somebody. They'll find any little thing to nitpick at. You know, like we've seen it happen with potential matches. Like when they go up there, when Arlette call them up there, they'll start asking questions like, where you from again? How many kids you got? And then you can automatically tell, like, like, yeah, they don't really like this person. This ain't the person that they want. And I mean, even Danny had said on the podcast, he was like, after that first girl popped up, after the first woman popped up balloon, I was like, I'm done. So it's like, if one of the other women would have matched with him, would it have worked out? Because he said he wanted the first one. He ain't want none of the other women. So yeah, I just think the unrealistic standards just come down to the person just not liking the person. But a few of them guys out there was definitely cornballs for sure. The last two guys, both of them could have had matches, and they just what they did was just corny. Like they down there flirting with each other and stuff. Looking at each other like, oh, she got 2 kids. You gonna pop? I'ma pop. You gonna pop? Like that was so corny. Then even though Mr. Dude in the brown shirt who come out put his clothing line in the store, even though he got a match, bro definitely came off extra freaky and horny. Like I'm sitting here like, dog, why are you talking like that on a dating show, bro? Like, bro, that's like low key creepy, bro. I'm like, yeah, we out on a date or something, it's spontaneous. Might ask you to slide them things to the side. And so, like, dude, come on, man. You a grown man. And then, dude who popped.
Stay on topic. Stay on topic.
Yeah, okay, my bad. But yeah, they just had like just crazy, just popping over crazy stuff, man. And it didn't make sense because it's like we on season 3 and BM and talked about this 1,000 times. You coming out here, you should be open to long distance dating. And you still got dudes out there popping, oh, because she not local or she not here in Phoenix. And it's like this could be your wife. This could be God literally sending you your wife, and you out here saying, "Oh, she not local." So it just didn't make sense to me. But yeah, that's my opinion on the topic.
Appreciate you, Chuck. All right, next person answer the question, the topic. What contributes to these people having unrealistic standards in dating as they hit their 30s, their older age? No, all speak at once now. It's okay. So it's not like there's like 5 of y'all.
I just wanted to give folks a chance. I just want to give folks a chance because I definitely will hop on the topic. I definitely will say when it comes to having unrealistic standards in dating, specifically for the older folk, I feel as though it's a sense of being tired when it comes to the dating pool, because when you're a person who's older in the dating pool, say like 25 plus, and you have contributing factors of like, oh, being divorced or having multiple kids, it's more of a challenge than me at my age going into the dating pool, because you have things like that. So I think with the disappointment that comes with dating and it failing at an older age, I feel as though it can cause you to lead into a spiral of delusion where, I could do long distance. I could travel. I could get some stamps on my passport or what have you, to the point where I'm just not going to do that because they're far away from me, or that's just not what I want to do. And then also, I've started to notice it. It seems like in some ages and in some age groups, it's like a backwards effect. Like you ever seen or heard somebody say that like old people and children act the same? Almost like you age up and then you kind of regress to go back as when you get to a point in life. I feel like that's kind of what's happening in the older dating pool, because when I think about how growing up, how I seen older people dress, how the things that they used to wear, how they used to talk, and how they used to look. If anything, it rivals that of somebody in my age group, you know, rocking them sparkly two pieces and the whole bunch of makeup and the lip fillers and all that jazz. It's just, it seems like society has gone on a, I don't know what the word I'm trying to use. Kind of like this like weird circle.
Regression.
It's like we started regression, there we go. It's like for some reason we've just gone back to that point. And in my honest opinion, we shouldn't do that, because like the lack of modesty has kind of been like a popular thing in like the younger age group, but now we're seeing it in older age groups as well. Not saying that there haven't been old people who's doing that long before, but we're starting to see more of it. We're starting to see people 30 plus, 40 plus wearing Fashion Nova outfits and Shein outfits when that really was something in the age groups younger. So I feel like because that regression is happening in the older age groups, I feel as though that can be a contributing factor to these unrealistic standards that the people in the older age groups have about dating. That's just my take.
Okay. That's a fair take. Next.
I agree with Monet. Is that her name?
Yes.
Yes.
I agree with her, but I feel like mostly it's because, you know, back in the day we didn't have the internet or social media to tell us, you know, okay, you're older, going back into the dating scenes, you don't have to what's the word I'm looking for? So you don't have to settle. You don't have to settle for what's in your environment. You know, you know what you want and go after what you want. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for all of the reasons that these guys popped. I do believe that for some of their reasons was valid. Like the first guy, I think he was a stickler, but I can understand where he's coming from. He's looking for a specific type of woman, and he wasn't finna settle. As for the two guys at the end, I do think I'm sad they didn't get their match, but at the end, they was kind of joking around too much. Honestly, they were like to pop because you can't travel because you're not from the same city on this type of dating show. It sounds ridiculous to me. But I think for the most part, it's like, you know, at that, even in your old elderly age, you know, or even as an older person, when you realize you don't have to settle, there's all different type of people out there. You're not going to settle for something that you're not looking for. Now, I think it's important that you know exactly what you're looking for, but that's what I think.
Okay. Shout out
Yeah,
to
I
you.
can see there being a thing.
I wanted to just add that into that little segment there, as long as regarding not settling. With the way with social media is and how we're like too overexposed to it. Like we have so many thousands of people on there, and it's never enough to like pick out of like who's best for me, who's not for me, because we are all different. I feel like people tend to get overwhelmed by too many options at their individual to their disposal rather,
Mhm.
and they don't know how to they just don't know how to manage it well enough because they're focused on here, there, every parts of different people, but never focused on the one. What's really working for them in their best interest. I think that that's to blame for how we have all these unrealistic expectations. People are going in our ears telling us, you should do this in order to gain a successful relationship. You should do that more to please your partner. There's too many people's opinions in your ear. It's hard to distinct your own voice into the matter. Like, you don't have any thought of your own as to when you put yourself out there to be in a relationship, you don't know how to process that information because you've gotten so used to everybody telling you what to do for your relationship, how to make it work, how to make it be long lasting, and to reach that end goal of where you want to build a family, build trust, communion, and work together as one. Without that, you're living in dysfunction. You don't know what direction you're going. So I feel like with so many voices within your ear and not your own or nor God's ear, you don't have that stability in that life. You don't have that sense of direction nor purpose because you're so busy focused on following everyone else's but your own nor God's, who's ordained that person who's meant for you. But you're so distracted into the world of where social media is popping off, Instagram, OnlyFans, all this negative and tactless beyond like what so-called relationship is. It's not about your body. It's not about your looks or gaining money or being this so-called entrepreneur, but you have nothing of substance or value to show that. That's what I feel like that's where we're going wrong. And I feel like there should be another change to that. You know, where we have more succession with relationships, with love. So we're not just all in confusion.
Okay.
I have one last question for everyone else, but I want to say that towards the end and make sure everyone has their own chance to speak.
Okay. Gotcha.
Hello?
Sir.
I guess my take on this is there's that cliche saying that when one gets older, they're supposed to get quote unquote experience, even though we learned that it is not the age that gives us that, it's the lifelong experience, and all of us have different lifelong experiences. I think there is a level of when not older people, but like people, not all, but when some people 30s and up think of it that way, it no longer becomes the matter of just experience. It may become into entitlement, and then there's that level of FOMO that happens as one gets older. Like the fear of missing out, maybe not being able to be a certain criteria anymore. Knowing the fact that, oh, I'm older, your body may change, your mentality may change, and you're learning from people that are younger than you. So, but I also do think it has to do with like some people are just not that intentional. Like Mr. Fillmore here in the blue. I'm sorry, I gotta roast him. I had to. And Mr. Pimp Daddy Rick. So yeah.
Okay. Shout out to Mecca. Who's next?
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
So let me make sure I remember the question. So it was, what contributes to the unrealistic expectations, right? For 30 and up?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I feel like it's a lot of different reasons for that. There's there's like the past relationship trauma that can arise in regards to them bringing that into a current relationship. Sometimes it can create like unfair comparisons. You know, a lot of the contestants will say things like, "Oh, you look like my ex or my cousin's best friend baby daddy," and it's like, but why are you bringing that into something new? You know, it can be that, it can be maybe their upbringing, so maybe they expect certain things from the partner, whether it's fair or unfair. And like someone else was mentioning too about social media, that's like they were saying, that's also something, a part of our generation that can greatly impact those feelings or those expectations, because a lot of times individuals feel as if, you know, there's a stigma that came from the past where you had to be married by a certain age, have kids at a certain time, but now it's not as much pressure to do so, but more so of having that independence, having your own, you know. So a lot of people feel like they are at a certain standard, a certain level that they have attained to, and if someone is not on their level, then they disregard it. So I feel as if it's a lot of different layers to it that it's hard to really just pinpoint what's the actual factor. But I do feel like the main points can be personal trauma bonds, lack of understanding between what is realistic and what is unrealistic, and then the social media factor, because I think we had this conversation before about what's the difference between like a preference and a standard, and a lot of them hold their preferences as a standard when it shouldn't be. So let's say, for example, if they have a preference for someone that, let's say, lives close to where they are, but you know, it shouldn't be like a standard, especially if you're coming on a dating show. You have to have an open mind and realize that, okay, it's not working out wherever I'm from, so I shouldn't uphold this as a standard that they have to be from the same city, but maybe it could be a preference that they live close to my city. But you know, it should be more so like willing to compromise on certain preferences. You know, it shouldn't be to a high level to attain. So that's what I think in regards to that. But yeah.
Okay. Shout out to Goddess.
All
right, who's next?
I guess I'll jump in here and just get this off my chest. So we're talking about what's creating the delusion.
What
delusion
contributes?
And
what contributes to people's unrealistic standards in dating, especially when it comes to you being 30 plus? That's the.
Okay, so first off, I'm gonna say the illusion of many options. Now, that comes in. Well, how we got that is with social media and things of that nature. People feel like they have so many options. Sometimes it's even some of the people that are around them. You know what I mean? Some guys, they have, you know, their friends or their buddies that they hang out with. Well, you know, don't cut that girl off. We can go find some more, go to the club or whatever, go out and find some more. So you start cutting off situations prematurely because you always feel like there's better options around the corner. Men do it, women do it also. I also believe like there's people aren't who they present themselves to be. Also, like, you know what I mean? Like some of the people that up here and pop the balloon. Like they give off a certain presence or like this is what they're about, but then it gets confusing and they're kind of all over the place. Things of that nature. I mean, we also have it on some of these episodes where the older people they're acting immature. You know, you have certain people that are just being very extra. They're stomping on the balloon and just like you're grown. There's no need to exhibit these immature behaviors and just be all over the place and just acting in a way that's unnecessary. I feel like all of this is contributing to what we're talking about.
Okay. Shout out to Poetical. Another solid breakdown from him. All right, who's next? Squad Princess.
Can I jump right in?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
Hello,
jump in.
hello. Well, I guess I would fall into that category, but I'm married, so I can't really speak on what if, could if, or whatever. But the topic reminds me of how my grandmother, I remember her and my aunts and my mom would just sit around the table and have small talk about, if anything happens with dad or her husband, what would you do? Would you remarry, dating, whatever? Now, my grandmother at this time, she's like in her 70s. And she's like, oh, heck no. No. If anything happens to your dad or your grandfather, that's it. I'm not remarrying. I don't care. I've been there. I've seen it all. I've heard it all. I've done it all. It ain't gonna happen. So basically she's saying that she's not gonna seek a mate. Now I have heard her say things like, if I happen to meet somebody, and it happens, it'll just happen. But I'm not gonna go out and seek a mate. So I think the concept is, with age, you get to the point where whether you've been married before or even just in a long-time relationship, or it doesn't even have to be a long-term relationship, any relationship, multiple relationships. When you get to a certain age and you get in your head that, okay, it's time to stop playing, or it's time to find another mate, it's time to be serious, no room to be out here playing like in my younger days. You aren't willing to you're not willing to back down from those standards, as far-fetched as they may seem. Because you feel like that maybe you've done it before, you've allowed things before just to have a mate. You've allowed things to happen, and you allowed people to get away with certain things, or maybe not. I'm not saying that you've allowed someone to run all over you, but you let some things slide, because of you love that person and you want to make things work, and maybe you have children or whatever the case may be. But my point that I'm making is, when you get to a certain age, all that goes out the window compared to peace. So if grandma says, look, I want you to be 6'4", I want you to have all your teeth, I want you to dress this way, I want you to have this much money, I want you to drive this car. Grandma can say that because she's done seen it all anyway, and she may have let all those other things slide before. Maybe she's telling herself that in these golden years, I deserve to have what she feels like she deserves to have, if that makes sense. And I used to sit there, and I'm a little kid listening to these grown women. I used to be like, well, guys, you've been married all this long time, and if your mate passes away or divorces you or whatever the case may be, you end up single again. You wouldn't want to remarry? It's like, you know, I was raised on Disney princesses. Like, you're not happily ever after until you find your prince. So in my head, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why would you want to be alone? But now that I'm 45, and I mean, I'm married, but I feel the same way. If anything happens where I find myself single again, I don't think I'm going to go out purposefully looking. If it happens, it happens. But yeah, there's going to be some things that I'm going to want. And it may be far-fetched to some people, but my standards are going to be a little bit more on top of everything because I've been there, I've seen it, I've done it.
Right.
So this is what I want in my life at this point, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
And if it, you know, just like grandma, you know, grandma will go on dates with Mr. James and he'll take her to bingo and whatnot.
Mr. James.
But she'll tell you quick, no, I'm not marrying him. I'm not giving him the time of day because that's not what I want. But, you know, it's when it comes down to settling down and taking those vows again, yeah, I think a lot of older people want peace. They'd rather stay single or maybe even just go out dating or whatever than to have to take those vows again and think to themselves, you know what, maybe this isn't really what I wanted in a lover or a spouse.
Okay. Hey, talk your talk. All right. Thank you, Squaw.
Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Thank you.
All right. Yashua, what's your take on this subject?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Alright, so basically, alright. So what was the question again?
The question was, one second. I know Dur posted it again for me.
Yes, it was.
He probably posted it just
Thank
now.
you,
There it
Dur.
is. Thank you, Dur.
Appreciate you, Dur. What contributes
Alright,
to people's
so
unrealistic
unrealistic
standards
standards.
in dating, especially when it comes to being 30 plus?
Alright, so with the people being 30 plus now, well, I think it's basically their perception of themselves, their ego and pride that comes along with that ego, because being 30, they're on the older side, they've already gone through life experiences, they built their own careers, probably off the ground, maybe they're cemented in their career years after years, they're in a place where they're settled, having their home, car, finances, right? They've learned themselves in a way that they've built their personality, knowing who they are. Maybe most of them went through therapy, fixed the issues and all of that. Maybe most of them have been through multiple relationships where they're able to build their preference, knowing what they like in a woman, what they don't like in a woman. And because of that, some of them, at the point that they're at, they're looking for one specific woman that embodies all of the good characteristics from their past relationships, not having the bad side. So because they feel like they're at this level in life now, yes, I'm settled in life, I know that older women maybe find older men more attractive, so they're saying they know they have options. So in their heads they're saying, you know what, I have the right to be picky, I have the right to, if somebody has a color toenail that I don't like, I have the right to reject them because I'm at this stage in my life, I have this knowledge, I have this wisdom. So because of that, the entitlement now builds. So in their mind, it's not an issue if they just pass somebody or if they just reject somebody, because they know that they have many more options. But then that is just causing them to stay single and be in a loop, because looking for perfection and looking for the standard that they have for themselves in their mind they're constantly causing themselves to be in situationships or just rejecting people. The Bible even says that a man shouldn't think more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly. That's in Romans 12. But many of them, they're thinking higher than they ought to be. So because their standards for themselves is so high, the women, they place that standard on the women, not realizing that they themselves don't even meet that standard. So I think that's my take on that.
Every time.
Are you proud of yourself? Are you proud of yourself?
He cooked.
The things that you do, are you happy?
He cooked. He cooked. He cooked, bro. Every time, bro. And it's like, Yahshua, you need to narrate Bible scriptures or something, man. You need to do like voice recordings and just read the Bible. Cause like I would listen to it for days, bro. That man's voice is untouchable. I thank you for sharing that take with us, man. Some people got blessed with good voices. Some of us got the voices of like 14-year-old teenagers. Like, you feel me? But like he cooked with that one. But Pudding Pop,
Speaking of good voices, where the freak is Cat? I'm gonna get her. Go ahead.
Pudding Pop, what was the last thing you wanted to say?
The last thing I wanted to say, I wanted to get a estimate prediction from where you guys see our Let's Pop the Balloon show is heading. Given how we see like the subject of beauty, vanity, toxicity, and lust segments are prevalent, going so far onward to our many seasons that we have, do you think that the show is continuously going to go in a route where sex is selling so much that we don't have any time for love? We don't have any time for getting to know each other, and that love is nowhere to be found within our community anymore.
In terms of Arlette and BM's products, I don't think it will ever get to that point where it becomes like there's gonna be instances of people who come on and they do these things because unfortunately a lot of times BM and them, they don't see the people until it's recording time. So for instance, like the Pointer situation, they didn't know Pointer was going to come out the way he did, but he came out the way he did. So I feel like there is a lot of moderation that they can try to do for the show, but then there's a lot of things that they can't control. When it comes down to their product though, I don't think they'll ever get to a point where it becomes so dominant that the whole show is filled with it. Because one thing about Arlette and BM, whether they do production with the music or whatever, BM is still heavily God-fearing in their product. Now, a lot of people, I saw a video the other day, it was like some dude trying to say like, oh, Pop the Balloon with Arlette exposed, and he was trying to basically say like all these things, like their objective is not love and all that. I feel like when people make stuff like that and they make angles like that, you guys negatively contribute to the space, because at the end of the day, the results are not the intention of the product. So it's like, just because you get the results that you're getting doesn't mean that that was the objective of the product to begin with. So just because you have people come on chasing clout, or they're overly sexually explicit, or they're rude, or they go viral, does not mean that when the original recording of the product or the idea was made, that does not mean that was the focus. So so when I see those channels saying that like, oh yeah, this is all, it was never about love, it was never about, I think that's very disingenuous, and I feel like that's a crab in a barrel mindset. Because given the opportunity for you to be in their position, 90% of these people who make these commentaries about the product would, if they had the opportunity, they would take that mantle and they would run with it. So I think it's disingenuous. It's crab in the barrel. That's why on our platform we don't do that crap, because at the end of the day, it helps nothing, especially when it turns into a black culture thing. I hate it when people take simple things and they turn it into a deeper black culture. Like, this is the problem with us. So I hate that. It's lame.
This is just dating in real time.
Yeah. The sad part is, if you really look at Arlette's product and stuff like that, to the people who think that she's just like, they're just manipulating or they're just trying to exploit the black culture, bro, this is the same stuff that y'all been dealing with on Hinge and Bumble and
Bumble.
Y'all
Tinder.
Y'all already been dealing with this the entire time. So it's like, now that somebody has the platform and they're just exposing all the bad stuff that y'all do, now it's somebody trying to like do this secret ulterior motive. Like, nah, cut it out. With their product, I don't think their product will go that far. I think, like I said, BM is God-fearing, so I feel like there is limits to what he will allow. Plus, there's stuff that we see clearly in this video. There were some edits and stuff, so there was some stuff that was taken out too. So he understands what is marketable, but then he also knows there's stuff that would not go alongside their brand. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I totally get it. Yep.
Anything you want to say about it, Alex?
No, I just feel like the show is just showing like dating real time, what it's like. I do feel like they don't have control over the people that end up matching on the show and how they how the people choose to come on and conduct themselves, because let's be real, they're getting on flights and they're willingly acting the way that they're acting. Nobody's saying like, hey, I'm gonna give you this, I'm gonna give you that to act like this, because I feel like it's just a waste of time because you get nothing out of it other than some internet clout, which doesn't last as long as you think it would. If anything, you're dealing with trolls and people criticizing you and talking about you crazy more than anything else. So, I mean, if people want to go on the show and publicly humiliate themselves and shame themselves, that's their own doing. Arlette and BM, they just have the platform, whether you want to sign up and do it or not. And how you choose to act and conduct yourself, that's just what they choose to do. But I would pray and hope that it does not get to a point where it's a full-on just provocative or lust segment or anything like that. Not saying that it will be and those are their intentions, but you know, there are other platforms that are like that. That's why people watch 20v1s. There's no other reason for you to watch a 20v1 other than you see people give crazy interactions with each other, but they're just in more provocative clothing. So I would pray and hope that it doesn't get to that point. From what I've seen, they've done a pretty good job, and there's a lot of other pop the balloon creators that are very like formal, conservative. They're not doing too much. There's not a lot of cursing. There's not a lot of like, you know, people just coming on with ulterior motives and stuff like that, not just trying to get a moment. There are a lot of other pop the balloon content creators. That's why we try to get different varieties other than just Arlette and BM. But yeah, everybody does a good job.
I agree. Yeah.
And it also goes in hand like what the audience reacts to. So if the audience reacts to things like this, that's why we say like people like us as consumers, even though we're creators and stuff like that, we're still consumers of certain types of content. So if we indulge in it and like, or we enjoy it, they're only going to keep doing the things that's going to keep the audience entertained, keep the audience like, you know, motivated to want to watch it, stuff like that. And some stuff are controversial, like some of the people that they may bring on, like when we had the Dr. Elam come on multiple times, the audience didn't like it, but the audience ate it up. So they kept having him come on because he was controversial, but then there was the other side of their audience that really loved him. So, but then it'll get to a point where there's just people that they won't ever bring back on, or certain people like, you know, other individuals that they won't ever bring back on because it's too risky for their brand. And they do, I feel like they do keep in mind of what the audience wants and likes. So we just got, as they're growing, we have to give them room and grace to continue to grow. If we hold them back and restrain them from doing certain things, then they're only going to get as far as we allow them to. But it's still okay for you to be like, hey, like, call some stuff out, because sometimes as creators we need to hear the feedback.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's basically. Thank you both. That's was pretty much my concern for the show going forward, because it's like when you're not about looking for love and you have ulterior motives and you're all about chasing the bag, getting money, and this is how much I place more on a pedestal to that of like building a family dynamic, building love, building connections with other people. I feel like sometimes it's a little bit discouraging to see, because I would myself personally would like to see more of that love and evolution to continue growing throughout this generation and everything. Granted, I may be 25, I'm not within the 30 plus community, but sometimes it's like you would want successions in the areas of where like Black love is still here, Black love is still prevalent today. It doesn't, go away. It's not something that's hidden from the world's view. It's still there. It's prevalent in your face.
Right.
Yep. So that's pretty much all of my concerns I had with the show. But I think that, as time goes on, we'll have our selected group of characters, of people. Our viral moments will still continue on here and there, but love is like the goal here, and that's what I would hopefully want to see more of. That, more of the success stories, more of the how we met, kind of things like that, because it's beautiful to hear, where did two people come together to meet and to grow and build this beautiful foundation of where love, trust, harmony is all fit together in one.
No, I agree completely, and I believe it'll happen. It'll happen. It's just people have to want to put forth the effort to actually do it. Like, if you look at Namdi and Alora,
yeah,
they weren't even like, they were compatible, but then Alora was kind of skeptical, but she took a leap on faith and she tried something different for herself, and now look at where they're at. They're flourishing in their relationship. They're talking about marriage. They're talking about growing together. So it's all about the wants in the necessary effort to put forth in it. Like, I don't think love will completely die out, but then you got to look at it from this standpoint that the times that we're in, people are leaving from love itself, because there's just no hope in it. But there's still love out there. We just don't get to show it or see it as much the way that we should. So people get discouraged and think that it's not out there for them. There's love out there for everybody.
All right.
I agree. That's all my talking point. Thank you to both. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, y'all. It's time for us to wrap up. It's time for everybody to spread their wings and fly away from the nest. The flock talk is ending, but let's do something a little interesting. Let's do something a little interesting on our little exit out. Your boy right here, your favorite person. Everybody, if you have some comment to make about him right now, now's your chance. But you only have this window of time. I'm only going to give you this grace. So, this is your only chance.
Oh.
It's your only chance.
Look at you. Get you, doggone doctor. No, it's not disabled. I enabled it. I can't type fast enough.
Go quick. What's your opinion?
This man deserves to be alone. He deserves to not have a woman. He deserves to be alone with his delusion. I pray that he ever finds a woman who is like him, I pray that she hits him with the ABC factor so hard it knocks his hairline all the way back to his country.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And that's all I gotta say. Mic drop.
Hey, that's your 30 seconds.
Okay, well then.
30 seconds, go.
Well, Okay, well, she dropped the mic, so let me pick it back up and say my piece. Yeah, he definitely is a L7 lame. He a square. He a goofy. He a wannabe high value. The lamest thing he did all night was when he finally found a girl that actually liked him. He ain't had a cojones to get his balloon back because he a weak man. He not a high value. He a weak man. I guess we could rally it back. Mic drop.
All right, next up, 30 seconds,
He
30
just
seconds.
remind me of one of those. He remind me of one of those people that in the classroom that try to make a funny and it's just not working for him. So after he realized that he just wasn't funny and the crowd was all you could hear was the crickets chirping, then I noticed that's when he started to, I guess, act like he had some sense. But it still didn't work for him because he couldn't find a match.
Okay, that's a speed take. Next person, speed take. 30 seconds. 30
Well,
seconds. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say. I mean, I haven't finished watching the episode, but I feel like whatever he's doing, he's getting the response he wants because we're talking about it, and I think that's part of his mission when he came up with his whole little criteria. So, I mean, I got to finish watching the episode to see what happens, but yeah, I mean, for all the women that have all these different factors and different things. He's a stickler for with his criteria. So I mean, we'll see how that works for him in the long run.
Okay. That next person, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Speed round. I better go. Somebody.
Can I go?
Go. 30 seconds.
I just want to say I was childish for calling him Dr. Dookie Braids. I hope he finds love and God bless it.
That's
okay.
Shout out to
That's good. That's good. Good maturity on your end.
Shout out to self-reflection. Let's go, Smiley. Or whoever next. Come on, let's do it. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Key, if you're gonna say something. Smiley, somebody.
Man, folks was definitely overwhooped for no reason. Like, I feel like he had valid points. He just went about it the wrong way. It kind of came off chickish, not sassy, just chickish. Folks was definitely overwhooping though. He ain't even had to do that. He was doing too much. It wasn't landing.
Got you. Next person, 30 seconds. Let's go. Let's do it. J-Dot, Key, one of y'all. Otherwise, we just gonna pack it up. Pack it up. Now her mic not working. That's crazy. Oh well, I guess it wasn't meant to be. Oh well. Sometimes maybe good. Sometimes maybe bad. Join the call. Disconnect and reconnect.
Yo.
Yes, sir. Sir Nitro of the Marvelous.
Yo. I'm still stuck at work. Help me.
I cannot. I'm a poor man with no money.
Anyways. What was it? We want to talk about this guy in 30 seconds? I'll try.
Go ahead. I'll give you some
grace. He was just overly picky. Thank you. Yeah, he was just picky. He was consistent with what he wanted. It's just how it came off, to be honest with you. He was open about it. It made sense with his background. So I don't hate him because we've seen a lot worse. And he technically almost matched too. Even when people were popping on the distance, he's like, yo, why are you here? I'm pretty sure he said that during the show. So he was consistent. He was just he knows exactly what he wants. He was even saying to ladies that they passed the A, B, and he was just about getting to that C part and knowing the person's character. So I think he almost matched like twice. So for me, he's an okay dude, right? He'll get his match somewhere in life and he'll be all right.
Okay. Thank you, Nitro.
Yeah.
J-Dot, my friend, your last one up. You got anything to say before we end it off? Don't forget to press that mute button. Unmute yourself. And Key, if you fixed your mic, now's your chance. Other than that, we're gonna wrap it up. Bump, bump.
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, I was just gonna say, wow, that was like hella growth from Big Mistake. That was dope that she said that. Yeah, I was pretty much about to echo what Nitro said. That, you know, unpopular opinion, he has his standards. They may be the limiting factor in what's going on with his dating life, but you know, he's entitled to his standards pretty much. So that was all I really had to say.
Okay. Thank you. And I will speak for J Dot, since J Dot's microphone is unfortunately not working. But he said, I would say he has main character syndrome. Right. So that is a fair point. So with that being said, we'd like to thank you guys for coming out to the 9th annual Flocketh Talketh. We thank you guys for everybody that came out. We thank you guys for the topics that we talked and the level of maturity of everybody. Remember that everything is opinion based. Nothing is factual. Nobody has the right to tell you that your opinion is wrong, but they also have the right to criticize and tell you their opinions about your opinions, but they can't tell you that you're wrong. But anyway, let's do this. Let's wrap it up. Let's pack it up. I will have this uploaded. Plus, guess what? Walking Dead for the gamer guys. Walking Dead will be tomorrow as well. So 2 videos tomorrow you guys are getting. So for the people that like the gaming stuff, the Walking Dead will be there. For the people that just want to watch the Flock Talk over, that will be there. And then we have a big announcement before the end of the year, which is going to be the direction that this KiteZz, the 2G1A brand, is going. We have a really big announcement, but I'm not going to tell y'all because I want y'all to be anticipating. But yeah, anything else you want to say, my dear?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you all for all the super chats. Before we go, let me make sure I shout everybody out. Zeus Titan for the $20 bomb. We appreciate you. Zeus Titan also with another $20 bomb. We also appreciate that. Major Monet, we thank you for the $5. Nitro Marvelous, we thank you for the $5. And if I missed anybody else, we thank you. All right. Everybody, remember, don't forget to pray, read your Bible, drink water, love somebody. And we will see you guys on the next Flock Talk.